Chapter 2273. Hearing Yi Shang's shout, the two cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors, who were approaching, paused. They hesitated. Night Sorrow's words were full of intimidation. If Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine were determined to give up on killing the Fire King City Lord and attack them instead, they would be in danger of dying. They were also worried that if Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine attacked them, what would the Fire King City Lord do? If the Fire King City Lord could give up on Fire King City, he could also give up on them. After hesitating for a moment, the two tribulation of 9 emperors looked at each other and left. Selfish. At this moment they were showing extreme selfishness. Both of you deserve to die. Seeing the two powerful subordinates leave, the Fire King City Lord roared in exasperation. He knew that he had been abandoned. You are always shouting that this one deserves to die, that one deserves to die. You deserve to die the most. Heavenly Concubine roared and a sword chi shot into the Fire King City Lord's chest. Fire King City was in chaos. All the cultivators fled in all directions. No one was stupid. They naturally understood the situation of their city lord. Since the two tribulation of 9 emperors' elders had fled, why wouldn't they flee? When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. This was the portrayal of Fire King City. No one helped him. He was heavily injured from the start. In addition, his speed was not as fast as Heavenly Concubine's. The Fire King City Lord was suppressed and killed. An hour later, the Fire King City Lord's body was destroyed by Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine. Because of Night Sorrow's soul destruction / and Heavenly Concubine's soul shock, he didn't even have the chance to self-destruct. After his body was destroyed, the Fire King City Lord's spiritual body was not completely destroyed. 3 parts of his spiritual body escaped. Night Sorrow's main body and avatar controlled the fire of virtue to lock down 2 balls of spiritual body, allowing one of them to escape. We didn't kill him completely. Night Sorrow said. Enough. His body is gone. Only 1/3 of his soul is left. He can't recover and won't be a threat anymore. Heavenly Concubine took the battle blade and storage ring left behind by the Fire King City Lord and said, the Fire King City Master is no longer a threat, but the two tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators are still a problem. In addition, the cultivators of Fire King City are fleeing in all directions. They left Fire King City and will seek refuge with other powers. They will report this matter to their superiors. If they search the spatial passageway, they will definitely become the target of the ancient cultivators. The news will definitely be leaked. Night Sorrow helplessly shook his head. This is unavoidable. A massacre without leaving anyone alive? We can't do that. We can't. Heavenly Concubine said. Yes, we can't do that. We can't do it either. Night Sorrow nodded. After that, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine cleaned up the City Lord's mansion and collected a large amount of refining materials before returning to the illusion array. Let's not tear down this teleportation array for the time being. Let's just leave it as it is. Let's go back, Night Sorrow said to Heavenly Concubine. After returning to the unparalleled Great Formation, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine first recovered. Then Night Sorrow gathered the main members in the main tent and reported the current situation. In other words, our confrontation with Fire King City has ended? The Golden Dragon King looked at Night Sorrow in astonishment. Yes, it's over. Also, after thinking about it, I feel that we should focus on defense. Fighting like this isn't a solution. Not to mention killing, it won't solve the root of the problem. Night Sorrow spoke his thoughts. No one objected to Night Sorrow's suggestion. The main idea was decided just like that. After using close to a month, Night Sorrow dismantled the unparalleled Great Formation. The arrangement and dismantling of the unparalleled Great Formation wasted a lot of energy, but Night Sorrow didn't feel that it was unnecessary. This was because there wasn't a huge impact. If there was, the unparalleled Great Formation would be a safeguard. After dismantling the unparalleled Great Formation, Night Sorrow led his people to clean up the path and then returned to the spatial tunnel. After returning to the celestial realm at the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow and King Yawu discussed some of their thoughts. The ancient world group is too big and the situation is unclear. Our main goal is to defend. King Yawu nodded. In addition, I plan to arrange an unparalleled Great Formation. Uncle, do you think we should arrange it inside or outside the spatial tunnel? Night Sorrow asked King Yawu. We are from the celestial realm. Our goal is to protect the celestial realm from being invaded. Let's place it on our side. This is in line with the heavenly law. King Yawu spoke his thoughts. Okay, then I will arrange it. Night Sorrow had the same thoughts as King Yawu. Actually, the reason he had retreated was because Night Sorrow had been shaken. No matter how good the reason was, it was a fact that he had entered the ancient world and slaughtered everyone. He was an invader and had lost his sense of righteousness. This was also the reason why he had not received any merit when he returned to the celestial realm despite his plentiful battle results. Allowing the team to move freely, Night Sorrow led the array masters from the ethereal imperial city to set up the second array. This time, the heavenly desolate city and the godly capital city provided a lot of resources. They didn't let Night Sorrow carry everything alone. However, the core materials of the formation were provided by Night Sorrow. Kuaishua 7 on _ the Grand Elder had come. Tran Hung was in Heaven Wasteland City and Lu Qi was in Shindu City. The Heaven Wasteland army was enough to station on Samsara Island, so the Grand Elder had come to help. After communicating with Night Sorrow for a while, the Grand Elder nodded as he watched Night Sorrow go to set up the array. His aura is steady and deep and his strength is enough. Yes, he can even kill the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. We might not be able to do that, King Yawu said with a smile. He has done what we can't do. We don't have to worry too much about it in the future. We will fight however he wants, the Grand Elder said with a smile. We can't do that. His main focus is still on cultivation. He has a lot of room for improvement and needs a lot of energy. His doppelganger is now setting up the array, and his original body is already in seclusion. We can't disrupt his cultivation plan. King Yawu shook his head. One more step. As long as he takes one more step, we can rest assured, the Grand Elder said. The tribulation of the 6 emperors to the tribulation of the 7 emperors was a watershed for high-level cultivators. Countless years had passed. There were cultivators of the tribulation of the 5 emperors and the tribulation of the 6 emperors in the celestial realm, but there were only 3 high-level cultivators of the tribulation of the emperor in this reincarnation cycle. Tran Hung, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder. This showed how difficult it was. The cultivators of the tribulation of the 6 emperors and the tribulation of the 7 emperors were at completely different levels. When one cultivated to the tribulation of the 7 emperors, the level of the soul would be upgraded and their life would be sublimated. For example, if a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors met a cultivator of the tribulation of the 6 emperors, he could kill them without hesitation. However, he could not kill a cultivator of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. If a cultivator of the tribulation of the 7 emperors left his body, the cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors could not stop or control him without special means. It was just like the heavenly concubine who was clearly seriously injured but still managed to escape. Chapter 2274. Night Sorrow had never stopped cultivating. His 9 regions doppelgangers had been studying the Thousand Realms defense technique. His main body had been cultivating except for necessary battles. He used the Wuji body tempering art to strengthen his body and cultivate at the same time. While arranging the formation, Yi Shang's understanding of the nature of the energy between heaven and earth had deepened a lot. This time, it took him 2 years to complete the unparalleled formation. Then he handed over the control of the formation to King Yawu. King Yawu was the most suitable person to be in charge of the formation. King Yawu didn't refuse. He knew Night Sorrow had a lot of things to do. He was the most suitable person to guard the place. While drinking tea, the Grand Elder asked about Night Sorrow's situation. He was more concerned about this and could give some ideas. He wasn't as good as Night Sorrow, but he was experienced. 2 years ago I went through some fierce battles. After I went into seclusion, I integrated what I learned and gained some insights. It's a good harvest, Night Sorrow said. How confident are you when you reach the tribulation of the 7th Emperor? The Grand Elder asked anxiously. Haha, Grand Elder, you can see it. I just finished the tribulation of the 6th Emperor not long ago. I still need time to reach the tribulation of the 7th Emperor. Night Sorrow smiled. His main body had been cultivating in seclusion, but it was mainly to cultivate his body. He had been using the Wuji body tempering art to strengthen his body. Now, his body's cultivation had reached the late stage of the tribulation of the 6th Emperor. The tribulation of the 6th Emperor showed the general trend of the way of the heavens. It was the interpretation of the way. Every step forward was difficult. It was a good sign that one could keep improving. It was impossible to have a sudden epiphany or a sudden breakthrough. You need time. Well, that's a good thing. There's plenty of time. The Grand Elder nodded. He could see Night Sorrow's realm, but he was eager to know what Night Sorrow had achieved. Why, Night Sorrow, although it is the end of the era, there are still hundreds of billions of years before the new cycle begins. Uncle Master, Tran Hung, and the Grand Elder may not have the time, but you do, King Yawu said with a smile. Knight Sorrow was stunned for a moment before he understood what King Yawu meant. Knight Sorrow touched upon the taboo attribute. The Emperor Tribulation of an era took the initiative to descend, a deity-destroying tribulation. He had a full era to cultivate and prepare. However, Tranhung King Yawu and the Grand Elder could not. Neither could the heavenly concubine Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian. They were characters from the previous reincarnation and had lived for a few years at the end of the previous reincarnation. Therefore, their lifespan would not be at the beginning of the next reincarnation. The number of years they lived in the previous reincarnation would be the number of years they would be tested by the God-destroying tribulation in this reincarnation. Without passing the God-destroying tribulation, one's lifespan would not exceed one reincarnation. This was also the rule of the heavens. This was also why there was a saying that after passing the God-destroying tribulation, one would be able to control reincarnation. This was because only by controlling reincarnation could one's lifespan surpass the limit of one reincarnation. Then what is everyone's lifespan like? Uncle Master, Lord Tranhung, and the Grand Elder, what is your situation? Knight Sorrow asked worriedly. An era lasts for hundreds of billions of years. I have not even lived for hundreds of millions of years. I was born in the beginning of the last era of the previous reincarnation. The Grand Elder said with a smile. He was already indifferent to some things. He only hoped that the 100 races of the celestial realm would rise again. Next is Uncle Master. He has a lifespan of about a few billion years. King Yawu also explained his situation. Less than 10 billion years, less than one era. Lord Tranhung is a little better. He was born in the middle of the last era of the previous reincarnation. He has a lifespan of a few eras. The Grand Elder added on Tranhung's situation. Looking at the Grand Elder, Knight Sorrow was a little anxious. This was because the Grand Elder's lifespan was really not much. For practitioners, hundreds of millions of years were nothing. Don't think too much. I have lived for so long and have seen through everything. Because I have always been in charge of the 100 races of the celestial realm, I have some luck. Otherwise, I would not have achieved what I have now. The Grand Elder said with a smile. That's not right. Grand Elder, you have not passed the tribulation of the 9 emperors for long. Knight Sorrow said what he could not understand. It's like this. Because of some external reasons and the deliberate interference of practitioners, the tribulation of the 9 emperors can be delayed. After several emperors' tribulations, the tribulation of the 9 emperors can be delayed. After several emperors' tribulations, the tribulation of the 9 emperors' tribulations can be delayed. One reincarnation cycle lasts 10 eras. Normally, there are 9 emperors' tribulations and 1 God-destroying tribulation. However, it is possible to pass 8 thunder tribulations in 9 eras. However, the last God-destroying tribulation is unavoidable. King Yawu explained to Knight Sorrow. After hearing King Yawu's explanation, Knight Sorrow understood that this was a method that some practitioners considered when they were not sure about passing the tribulation of the 9 emperors. However, the heavenly rules could not be changed. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow told Zhuodong of the First Army and Longjin Yun Huang and Liang Yu of the God-slaying team. Then he left. After the formation was set up and everything was stable, he planned to go back to the 9 regions world to practice. Our leader allowed us to act freely. Then we can do whatever we want. If there is a battle order, we must gather at once. Longjin said to the members of the God-slaying team. As for the matter of the First Army, he did not care. After returning to the 9 regions world, Knight Sorrow went into seclusion. He entered the soul-nourishing palace in the sky-ceiling Grand Hall. He wanted to pass the tribulation of the 7 emperors as soon as possible. At that time he would not be afraid of anyone even if he had to fight alone. Knight Sorrow went into seclusion. His subordinates also went into seclusion, including his wife. The war was still going on. However, King Yawu was in charge of it. Whenever a practitioner appeared in the 100 zones near the spatial tunnel, King Yawu would send people to eliminate them according to the situation. If a high-level practitioner appeared, he would personally take action. He was a Divine Soul Unification Realm practitioner. As long as the practitioner was not in the Divine Soul Unification Realm, he could kill them all. Mo Zhantian had already understood the situation in the Celestial Realm. Although he was anxious, he did not dare to act rashly. There was only one chance to enter the Celestial Realm. Once the transmission formation of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was activated, they would be exposed. Then the battle with the Celestial Realm would officially begin. He felt that he had to wait. He needed to recover while Mo Yutian was still cultivating. Time passed. In this great era, all the practitioners had unprecedented opportunities to break through. It was just like Tran Hung, King Wu, Unparalleled Sword Emperor and the Grand Elder. They had seized the opportunity to rise. Night Sorrow did not come out of seclusion. He did not even send out his doppelgangers because his two doppelgangers were studying the Thousand Realms defensive body. Mother, when will father come out of seclusion? If he doesn't come out, I can't even get married. Yi Qingyan and her mother were talking in a mansion in the Sky City. Indeed, it's been a long time. However, you should know that we cannot interrupt your father's seclusion. Why don't we let your grandpa and grandma take care of it? Aoi looked at her daughter and said. Chapter 2275. It had been 100 years since Night Sorrow returned to the Nine Regions world. Even the preaching date had been pushed back by Tran Hung. Zhan Yi and Yi Qingyan's relationship had matured after 100 years. Both their parents had agreed to hold the wedding at any time. However, Night Sorrow was not around, so they had to wait. Qingyan, your father is in seclusion. I'll have to trouble you and Zhan Yi for now, Lin Miaomiao smiled. She had just come out of seclusion and was already at the peak of the tribulation of the three emperors. She was ready to undergo the tribulation of the four emperors. You're thinking too much. I'm just asking. Qingyan sat down beside Lin Miaomiao and smiled. You're exaggerating. Nothing is more important than Martial Uncle's seclusion. This is not just his personal matter. It also concerns the future of the Celestial Realm and the Nine Regions world. Zhan Yi bowed to Lin Miaomiao and the others. You have a good view of the big picture. Your martial uncle's matter is indeed not just the Yi clan's matter. It concerns the big picture. However, it shouldn't take too long, Yang Lei said. Zhan Yi, have you seen your parents recently? How are they? Zikong Chiyu asked. Aunt, my mother is in charge of some matters in the Qing Emperor city. My father went to the ancient world twice. I don't know the details, Zhan Yi said. The Yi clan was very casual. Yang Lei and the others had told Zhan Yi not to be polite. However, Zhan Yi had always treated his elders with respect. It was completely different from Yi Qingyan and the others. Qingyan, wait for your father for a while longer. If he doesn't come out of seclusion in 20 years, I'll arrange it for you. You can't not get married just because of him, Yu Qing said. Grandmother, I can't do that. In my father's heart, us siblings are his favorite. If I get married while he's in seclusion, he'll definitely feel regretful. He might even feel like he owes me. Yi Qingyan shook her head. Mother, Night Sorrow won't be in seclusion for long. He should be coming out soon, Zikong Chiyu said. He's in seclusion for 100 years. It must be very tiring. Yu Qing sighed. She had many children and grandchildren. However, she was still worried about her son. At the entrance of the spatial passage, King Wu, the Grand Elder, and the leaders of the Celestial Realm Beast Emperors. Huang Ling looked. It was boring. After the young city lord went into seclusion, he lacked that kind of passion, so there wasn't much progress, the Golden Dragon King said after taking a sip of wine. He's young and ambitious. It's only natural that he wants to improve himself. He's been in seclusion for 100 years. When he comes out, he'll probably reach a new level, the Great Elder said with a smile. That's right. Ordinary cultivators have bottlenecks. It's very difficult to break through the bottleneck even if they grind it out over time. But he's different. I've been observing him. His body is one level higher than his soul realm. What is that? That's using strength to prove one's Tao. When the energy in his body surpasses the realm, it will drive the realm forward. Using strength to prove one's Tao is another cultivation method recognized by the heavenly Tao, King Wu said. I'm looking forward to seeing him again, King Blood Kirin said. He had successfully broken through and returned. Once again he broke his right arm and injected the blood chi into his body. Night Sorrow's body exploded. Night Sorrow realized that his body had turned into energy. His flesh and bones were full of crystal. Night Sorrow's body had reached the tribulation of 7 emperors. Night Sorrow, the tribulation of thunder is coming. Are you okay? The 9 region origin appeared in front of Night Sorrow. It's too late to regenerate my right arm. I'll have to go through the tribulation first. Night Sorrow sighed. He had no choice but to go through the tribulation of thunder in his peak condition. Don't worry. I can use the world's origin to block it and delay the tribulation of thunder. However, it won't take long. Hurry up. The world's origin left. At this moment, the people in 9 region city realized that something was wrong. Black clouds covered the entire 9 region city in the sky. Lightning flashed in the black clouds and there were crackling sounds of thunder. Tribulation cloud. Who's going through the tribulation? What kind of tribulation cloud is this? If it descends, it will destroy the entire nine-region city. In front of the city lord's mansion, Yun Tianlong's face was solemn. He had never heard of such a tribulation cloud before. You don't know? We've been here all this time but we haven't seen any high-level cultivators enter the nine-region world. The Realm Lord. The Realm Lord has been in seclusion in the Heaven Sealing Hall. Taishu Yen thought of Night Sorrow. At this moment, a rich origin energy appeared around the Heaven Sealing Hall. The origin energy with a multicolored glow shot up into the sky and resisted the tribulation cloud's suppression. What's going on? Does the Night Emperor know what's going on? Yun Tianlong looked at Yi Linghuan. In the past, Yi Linghuan was part of the upper echelon of the Night Moon dynasty. Some people called him the Night Emperor. The world's origin energy is resisting the tribulation cloud. Perhaps the person undergoing the tribulation is not ready. The person undergoing the tribulation should be Night Sorrow. The world's origin energy will only care about his situation. The world's origin energy will not make a big fuss about other people's lives. Yi Linghuan said. In the Heaven Sealing Hall, Night Sorrow took out the Black Horn Dragon's heart blood, which contained the purest energy. He also used a pill to regenerate his broken limb at full speed. He wanted to recover as soon as possible so that he could face the tribulation of thunder. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow finished regenerating his right arm after cultivating for 4 days in a time acceleration environment. The world's origin energy appeared again. He told Night Sorrow that he could only hold off the tribulation of thunder for 2 hours. The rest would depend on Night Sorrow himself. Thank you. I'm fine right now. Night Sorrow turned to look at his clone, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation. The clone flashed and merged with the main body. Good. Then I'll wait to congratulate you, Realm Lord. The Nine Realms origin energy nodded to Night Sorrow. After leaving the Heaven Sealing Hall, Night Sorrow streaked across the sky and left Nine Realms City with the tribulation cloud. He rushed toward the Realm Sea. Yi Linghuan and the others followed. Night Sorrow didn't deliberately shake anyone off so everyone could keep up. At the same time, Chu Lingfei, who was passing by Nine Realms City, went to Sky City to notify the Yi family. The Yi family, led by the Heavenly Concubine, also arrived at the Realm Sea. Night Sorrow landed on a small island in the Realm Sea. The sea breeze blew at his robes. Looking up at the tribulation cloud, Night Sorrow wasn't nervous. Instead he was excited. In the past, when his body broke through, the tribulation of thunder wouldn't descend. This time it was because his body had improved. Clothes fluttering, smiling at the tribulation cloud. How elegant. The Heavenly Concubine clapped her hands. Chapter 2276. Seventh Emperor Lightning Tribulation. Seventh Emperor Lightning Tribulation is the symbol of a top cultivator. After passing this tribulation, your father will be the fourth top cultivator of the celestial realm. Plus, he won't be the weakest, said the Heavenly Concubine. Emperor Tribulation. Many people didn't know about this level. Yi Xiaoluo had only heard about it. Those who weren't Emperor Tribulation cultivators didn't know what it meant. On the other hand, Lin Piaomia was so excited that her face turned red. In the past, only the 3 giants of the celestial realm were above the 7th Emperor Tribulation. If Night Sorrow passed the tribulation, he would stand at this height. After circulating his energy, Night Sorrow exhaled. Then, his avatar left his body and stood outside the range of the lightning tribulation. Then his original body sat down cross-legged. What is he doing? Sikong Chuyu turned to the Heavenly Concubine and asked anxiously. He's using the tribulation energy to refine his body. He did this during the 6th Emperor Tribulation. Don't worry, he has absolute confidence. Otherwise he wouldn't do this, said the Heavenly Concubine. Last time, when Night Sorrow was undergoing tribulation, she was there so she knew about Night Sorrow's situation. Night Sorrow had indeed planned to do this. He had been in seclusion for a long time. His body's energy had increased but it was still flawed. If he could undergo tribulation, it would help settle down. While everyone was talking, the tribulation clouds rolled and an explosion sounded. A black lightning bolt struck towards Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow waved his left hand and spacetime rules appeared. He slowed down the speed of the tribulation. Then his body flashed 3 times and 3 light circles appeared around Night Sorrow's body. The 1,000-world defense body has reached 3 realms. This talent is really amazing. The Heavenly Concubine was shocked. She knew what the 3 light circles around Night Sorrow were. They were 3 Sumeru worlds. After the lightning was slowed down by spacetime rules, it came into contact with Night Sorrow's Sumeru worlds. After being blocked by the 3 Sumeru worlds, only a third of the lightning tribulation's energy actually hit Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow didn't attack. He allowed the lightning to enter his body and travel through his body. He controlled the energy in his body to resist the lightning, and in the process he cleaned up the flaws in his energy. Night Sorrow's body contained a terrifying amount of energy. It only took a few waves of impact to melt the first lightning tribulation. After dissolving the lightning energy, Night Sorrow folded his arms and pressed them in front of him. Then he exhaled a mouthful of black gas. That was the turbid gas left behind by the lightning tribulation energy and the impurities in his body. When the second lightning tribulation descended, Night Sorrow did not retaliate. Instead, he used his Tao domain and Thousand Realms defense to affect the lightning tribulation. Then he continued to endure the lightning tribulation, refining it and tempering his body at the same time. The memory crystal ball in the heavenly concubine's left hand was lit up. She wanted to record this historic moment because no one could transcend a tribulation like this. The memory crystal ball represented history in the future. It was a witness to history. The lightning tribulation was different from what the heavenly concubine knew. When she transcended the tribulation of the 7 kings, she withstood 9 lightning tribulations. After each lightning tribulation there would be a break. However, Night Sorrow's was not like that. Night Sorrow's lightning tribulation did not have a break. It came one after another. After the 9th lightning tribulation there was a break. Then there were 9 lightning tribulations. Although each lightning tribulation's power was a little weaker than when she transcended it, the number was terrifying. The power is weaker, but the number is ridiculous, the heavenly concubine muttered. 9 lightning tribulations formed a wave that kept attacking Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had used up a lot of energy, but he relied on refining the lightning tribulation energy to replenish himself. He could still withstand it. After the 6th wave of lightning tribulation, the lightning tribulation stopped. The tribulation cloud spun above the realm sea, brewing. Night Sorrow, be careful. 7 is the realm point. You're also a tribulation of the 7 kings. This might be a fierce wave, the heavenly concubine shouted at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow turned his head and smiled at the heavenly concubine. He knew the next wave of lightning tribulation would be fiercer than the previous ones. The lightning tribulation brewed for a while. Then the tribulation clouds exploded. 9 lightning tribulations whizzed down and struck at Night Sorrow. What is your family doing? Are you trying to kill me? The heavenly concubine was about to curse, but when she saw the Night Sorrow Jr. next to her, she stopped. However, she was still very emotional. Night Sorrow's expression changed. He expected this wave of lightning tribulation to be very strong, but he didn't expect it to be 9 lightning tribulations at the same time. Spatial rend, spatial rend. Yishang unleashed several spatial rends in succession, creating several spatial rifts that blocked the path of the lightning tribulation. Then, with the help of the Human Tao's sacred scripture, the Book of Taoism and the Human Emperor's seal, Yishang's primordial Tao domain expanded, affecting and melting the power of the lightning tribulation. It was difficult for him to withstand 9 lightning tribulations at the same time. Although he wouldn't be destroyed, he would be injured. He didn't know what would happen next. Night Sorrow wouldn't allow himself to be injured so easily. Night Sorrow used all his strength to block and defend. The speed and power of the 9 lightning tribulations decreased by half. Then Night Sorrow used his left fist to meet the lightning tribulations. The lightning tribulations entered Night Sorrow's body. After the lightning tribulations entered his body, Night Sorrow realized something was wrong. 5 of the lightning tribulations entered his divine sea, and 4 entered his body. The ribbon binding Yishang's hair broke. His hair fluttered and fell on his shoulders. Then Yishang sat on the ground and used his virtuous Tao body and soul power to resist the destruction of the thunder energy invading his body. The energy of the 9 lightning tribulations was too violent. The impact made Night Sorrow's soul unstable. Night Sorrow didn't spit out a mouthful of blood. He didn't want his family to worry. In Night Sorrow's divine sea, the crescent blade of the soul destroyer danced quickly. It killed the lightning tribulations. The primordial Tao domain and reincarnation Tao domain in his body kept clashing with the lightning tribulations. Father is in danger. Yi Qingyin's face was full of worry. This is your father's path. No one can interfere. Whoever enters the lightning tribulations will die. The heavenly concubine grabbed Yi Qingyin's shoulder. She was worried that Yi Qingyin would act recklessly. Lin Ethereal released her Tao domain and covered the children of the Yi family. Like the heavenly concubine, she was also worried that someone would act recklessly. Night Sorrow's clone moved. It held the blood-Kirin evil-slaying spear and stood in front of his original body. His original body didn't have much combat power. If there was a tribulation, his clone would have to deal with it. The tribulation clouds spun in the sky, but no lightning tribulations came down. Night Sorrow's original body used all his strength to resist the lightning tribulations that entered his divine sea and body. An hour passed. Night Sorrow refined the lightning tribulations in his body. The 5 lightning tribulations in his divine sea were still fighting with the soul destroyer / After the lightning tribulations dissipated, the energy entered Night Sorrow's nascent soul. This energy didn't harm Night Sorrow's nascent soul. Instead, it covered Night Sorrow's nascent soul with a layer of purple lightning. No lightning tribulations came down. Night Sorrow continued to refine the lightning tribulations' energy. Air. Chapter 2277. Night Sorrow refined the energy of the 9 lightning bolts that entered his body and resolved the threat of the lightning bolts. The heavenly Tao judged that Night Sorrow had passed the 7th Emperor Tribulation. Therefore, the tribulation clouds retreated and the heavenly Tao rewarded him. Golden light filled the sky. Under the purposeful display of the 9 regions' world's origin, the golden light and the auspicious clouds could be seen everywhere in the 9 regions' world. The auspicious clouds slowly descended and disappeared into Night Sorrow's body. After collecting the energy of the auspicious clouds, Night Sorrow stood up and tidied his robe. Then the Taoist rhyme on his robe circulated. Suddenly his body changed and became more than 100 feet tall. Then, his left arm hooked and collected all the energy around the auspicious clouds into his body. He used the leakless true body to lock it in. After collecting the energy, Night Sorrow's body returned to its original state. Then, his doppelganger entered his body and sat on the ground to cultivate. He had just leveled up and needed to stabilize his realm and cultivation base. He succeeded. That's too scary. Even the 8th Emperor Tribulation and 9th Emperor Tribulation weren't this terrifying, said the heavenly concubine. Then we'll wait to celebrate for father. Yi Qingyan and Yi Xiaolei were excited. Just wait. Your father won't end this meditation without a year and a half, said the heavenly concubine with a smile. When she went through the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it took her more than 2 years to stabilize her cultivation level. Even though Yi Shang's body went through the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it still took him a while to sense the changes in his body. It's only a year. Then we'll just wait. Father has succeeded in passing the tribulation. This is a joyous occasion. We must celebrate with a grand ceremony, said Yi Xiaolei with a smile. Sect Elder Lin, bring the others back. I'll stay here and guard him for a while, said the heavenly concubine to Lin Piaomiao. All right. Then I'll have to trouble you, heavenly concubine. Lin Piaomiao nodded. There was only Night Sorrow's small island here, there was no other place to stay. The others had to return. Night Sorrow felt the changes in his body after his advancement. As long as he circulated the energy in his body, his flesh and blood could crystallize. Every small crystal was filled with vigorous energy, and when needed, his body could shrink or expand. Furthermore, that was his actual body, not an energy illusion. His physical strength had also reached a level that he could not estimate. He could move mountains and fill seas with a wave of his hand. This was a change in his body. In addition, Night Sorrow could feel the baptism of the lightning tribulation on his soul, causing it to become much more condensed. The divine infant was already filled with Taoist rhymes, and it was covered in a lightning robe. At this level, it would not be a problem for his soul to leave his body and survive. This was the evolution of the life level. The soul had been sublimated. Although the soul realm had not reached the level of the tribulation of the 7 emperors, it already had the characteristics of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Night Sorrow had some lingering fear. This was because he had been cultivating in the soul-nurturing palace of the heaven-sealing Grand Hall. With the help of the soul-nurturing grass, his soul power had become much more condensed. Otherwise, if the 5 lightning bolts entered his divine sea, it would have been a huge crisis. While feeling the changes in his soul, Night Sorrow stabilized his body in cultivation. 1 month, 2 months, half a year, 1 year. The Yi clan came a few times, but Night Sorrow was always in seclusion. 2 years later, Yi Shang ended his cultivation and stabilized his body, cultivation base and soul realm. Congratulations. You are finally standing at the pinnacle of the cultivators. The heavenly concubine smiled and cupped her hands towards Night Sorrow. Others might not know about Night Sorrow's situation, but she knew. She knew that whether it was Night Sorrow's original body or his clone, it would not be a problem for him to fight against the tribulation of the 9 emperors. If the other party did not have any special life-saving methods, they would be killed. Even when facing a Divine Soul Unity Realm expert, Night Sorrow still had the ability to protect himself. It was very difficult for top-notch cultivators to complete a kill. Even if they could defeat the other party, they would not be able to control the soul body and escape. However, this rule did not apply to Night Sorrow. This was because Night Sorrow had the fire of virtue. He had the advantage of trapping and killing the soul body that others did not have. It's still early. You can't say this. Night Sorrow flashed and stood beside the heavenly concubine. Let's not talk about what level of cultivators you can kill. At the very least, there are very few cultivators who can kill you and severely injure you. The heavenly concubine said. She felt that Night Sorrow beside her was like a small sun. He was emitting an astonishing energy aura. The energy around his body was changing. Everything revolved around Night Sorrow. There is always someone stronger. I still have to work hard. However, I will not go into seclusion for the time being. Night Sorrow said. You have a good mentality. You indeed cannot go into seclusion anymore. What you need is to relax and settle down. Use your body to drive your realm. Your true chi cultivation and realm will soon enter the tribulation of the 7 emperors. The heavenly concubine nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow had a bright path ahead of him. The tribulation of the 8 emperors did not have any bottlenecks. The tribulation of the 9 emperors was a bottleneck. With Night Sorrow's current strength, he would be invincible once he entered the tribulation of the 8 emperors. I need time. I can't rush it. Night Sorrow smiled. He was in a good mood because he had finally taken an important step. Let's go home. Everyone must be waiting anxiously. The heavenly concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and used the 1,000 Realms defense body. Energy wrapped around the heavenly concubine and they flew. Rather than flying, Night Sorrow was more like teleportation. As the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow could control the energy of the 9 regions world. His affinity with energy was unparalleled. He was more than 10 times faster than a tribulation of the 7 emperors. In a moment, Night Sorrow arrived at the 9 regions world. Greetings, Realm Lord. Taishu Yen and the others who were in the 9 regions world cupped their hands and greeted Night Sorrow. There's no need to be so courteous. Later all of you will arrive at the city in the sky. I have to celebrate my breakthrough. Grandpa's coming too. I'll accompany him for a few drinks. Night Sorrow said to the group. He also mentioned to Yi Linghuan that Yi Linghuan had put in a lot of effort for him. Night Moon's dynasty came out early because he didn't want anything to happen to him. These were all in Night Sorrow's heart. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Taishu Yen and the others discussed. They felt that this matter should be reported to the 9 regions world. The 9 regions world should celebrate. Night Sorrow was the Realm Lord, and Night Sorrow's strength represented the stability of the 9 regions world. Almost up New D chapter hashtag. Upper Wike to when Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky, the Yi clan became lively. Night Sorrow, our daughter is in a hurry to get married. You've been in seclusion for 100 years. Yang Lei said with a smile. Auntie. Yi Qingyan was a little embarrassed by Yang Lei's words. This is a good thing. Let's find a good day to do it. Zhani, invite your parents over. We'll see how we can arrange it. Night Sorrow said to Zhani. Okay. Zhani bowed to Night Sorrow. He felt that facing Night Sorrow was very stressful. At this moment it wasn't just Zhani. Everyone felt the same way. Night Sorrow, your aura is rippling. Others aren't used to it. Heavenly Concubine reminded Night Sorrow. Chapter 2278. I've only advanced for a short period of time, so I can't restrain the power of chi and blood in my body. Even if I use the leakless true body, it won't be enough. I still need some time, Night Sorrow explained. He knew what the heavenly concubine was talking about. The current situation was the result of him deliberately controlling it. Yes, the power in your body is too terrifying. In terms of body attainments, no one can compare to you. The heavenly concubine nodded. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow's clone accompanied his family while his main body entered the clear sky pagoda to cultivate in the time acceleration. He had to quickly familiarize himself with the situation and restrain his aura. The current situation was indeed not good, and the people around him were not used to it. It was fine if their cultivation was high, but if their cultivation was low, they would have to bear a lot of pressure. The celebration banquet was mainly for the Yi family and the 9 regions world commander-in-chief's residence. Night Sorrow didn't like to be ostentatious, so he didn't feel the need to tell anyone about this. John Tan and Yi came. Night Sorrow and his wives discussed with them about their children's marriage. In the end, they decided not to be extravagant and there was no need for it. In addition, the wedding would be held in the city in the sky. John Tan meant that Zhan Yi and Yi Qingyan would live in the city in the sky from now on. Yi Qingyan would be used to it, and Zhan Yi's life would not change. He could even receive guidance from Night Sorrow and the Yi family. In the Yi family, Night Sorrow wasn't the only expert. Lin Piaomiao and Dachira were both experts. Lin Piaomiao was infinitely close to the fourth Emperor Tribulation, while Dachira had advanced to the Emperor realm not long ago. Night Sorrow didn't refuse. He felt that this was suitable. Zhan Tan didn't care much about the Qing Emperor's empire and didn't have a fixed place to live. Zhan Yi was fine with the city in the sky. During the banquet, Night Sorrow drank a few more cups with everyone. Everyone was really happy. After the banquet ended, Night Sorrow announced the wedding of his daughter Yi Qingyan and invited everyone to attend. After sending off the guests, he entered the cultivation state again. However, he still wanted to familiarize himself with his current realm. At the entrance of the space tunnel, the Golden Dragon King looked at Lin Piaomiao's doppelganger, who had just returned from patrolling the campsite with a face full of joy. Lin Piaomiao told him about Night Sorrow's tribulation. This was a good thing and there was no need to hide it. Besides, the elders of the Council of Elders were very concerned and worried about Night Sorrow's situation. I've come out of seclusion. My body has broken through the tribulation of the 7 emperors. This is great news. I have to tell King Yewu about this. The Golden Dragon King's face was full of excitement. Lin Piaomiao and the Golden Dragon King entered King Yewu's tent and told him about Night Sorrow. That's great. King Yewu was also very excited. He's using strength to prove his Tao. Now that his body has improved, his Jinqi cultivation base and his cultivation base will increase as well. But because he just broke through, he's not used to it yet. He's still cultivating, so he didn't come over. Uncle Grand Elder, I hope you don't mind. Lin Piaomiao explained for Night Sorrow. What's there to mind? This is really good news. Let him cultivate in peace. The Grand Elder hurriedly said. He knew that this was a crucial time for Night Sorrow. The tribulation of the 7 emperors. He's only been cultivating for a few hundred years. Based on his current progress, it's more than enough for him to reach the tribulation of the 9 emperors in 10,000 years. Don't rush it, don't rush it, King Yewu said. In the time acceleration, Night Sorrow cultivated for more than half a year before he completely concealed his aura. It should be said that it was under the control of the leakless real body. It was also the time for Yi Qingyan's wedding. Night Sorrow didn't invite too many people. He invited the Qing Emperor and his wife Qing Lin and Qing Wan. Then he invited a group of senior brothers from the Medicine Valley and some people from the commander's residence. Night Moon City. The territory of the Night Moon dynasty was also decorated with lanterns and streamers. This was the wedding of the princess of the Night Moon. It was a joyous occasion for Night Moon. All the inns, restaurants, and tea houses spontaneously carried out activities for free. In other words, during the wedding, all the services in the territory of the Night Moon dynasty were free. Although they didn't invite too many people, the city in the sky was very lively. People from the Taishan Peak were all here. The higher-ups of the Night Moon dynasty were also here. The wedding ceremony wasn't complicated. It was just a ceremony for ordinary people. After bowing to heaven and earth, they bowed to their parents and then the couple bowed to each other. Junior brother, you have to say something. Zhan Tan looked at Night Sorrow and said. There's nothing to say. I know Zhan Yi. Night Sorrow said. Alright. If you won't say it, then I'll say it. Zhan Yi, you have to know that Qingyan is the flesh of your martial uncle's palm. He dotes on her very much. She can't suffer any grievances in our family. If you do anything wrong to Qingyan, I won't let you off. Remember, this isn't a joke. Zhan Tan stood up and said to Zhan Yi. Father, please don't worry. Martial uncle and aunts, please don't worry. Zhan Yi can guarantee with my life that I won't let senior sister suffer any grievances. Zhan Yi bowed to Night Sorrow and the others. You're being too serious. Husband and wife should be tolerant of each other. This is a path for 2 people. Qingyan, you're not young anymore. There are some things that need to be considered. But remember, if you have any problems, you have to tell me. If you have any difficulties, I can help you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. At the same time, he reminded Yi Qingyan. Are you a little reluctant? Yi looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. To be honest, I'm a little reluctant. Night Sorrow smiled. Father. Yi Qingyan walked forward and hugged Night Sorrow. Tears flowed down her face. She knew how much her father loved her. Don't cry. It's a big day. You're a wife now. You'll be a mother in the future. You can't be like this. Night Sorrow helped his daughter wipe away her tears. Father, please don't worry. Qingyan will learn how to be a good wife. Yi Qingyan nodded. After sending off the guests, Night Sorrow went to the lake below the city in the sky. Soon after, his wives came over as well. Do you still feel a little emotional? Qing Ji said with a smile. 3 inch yes. In the blink of an eye, the children have all grown up. Slowly they've all started their own families. But all I see now is the children when they were young. Night Sorrow nodded. Yujun is living a happy life. Qingyan will too. Our children are a little stubborn. But in terms of logic they're not lacking. The problems of the eldest and second eldest have been solved. Next it's Xiaolei and Little Four. Yang Lei smiled. Life in the city in the sky calmed down. Night Sorrow left the 9 regions world and went to the spatial tunnel. Night Sorrow's arrival made King Wu and the Grand Elder very happy. They could also see that Night Sorrow's strength was different from before. They could feel it in terms of his aura. Did everything go well? King Wu asked. Yes. Next, I just need to increase my cultivation. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down. Chapter 2279. How are things here? How many ancient cultivators have appeared? Night Sorrow asked. He had been worried about this for a long time. Many. In the past, because you cleaned it up, the area around the spatial passageway was empty. But as time passed, the ancient cultivators slowly infiltrated this area, King Wu said. There's nothing we can do about it. There are too many ancient worlds in the ancient world group, and there are too many ancient cultivators. It's only natural for them to get close to the entrance of the space tunnel. This situation is getting more and more intense, said the Great Elder. This is also because the news was leaked. At that time, many cultivators from the Fire King city ran away. They understood the ancient world very well. After leaving the Fire King city, they would join other forces and spread the news. All the ancient cultivators were extremely interested in the word, realm. Digging out a spatial tunnel was something they urgently wanted to do. It should be described with the words moved by the smell of blood. They should smell it, Night Sorrow said. He knew that the collision at the Fire King city had left some hidden dangers. These hidden dangers would cause the cultivators of the ancient world group to become more and more crazy. Don't worry. With this unparalleled great matrix, it won't be easy for them to break in. We'll just have to deal with whatever comes our way, King Wu said. Is there any movement from the Demon Wing clan? Night Sorrow asked. For the 100 races of the celestial realm, there were currently 2 hidden dangers. One was the threat from the ancient world group, and the other was the Demon Wing clan. If either side launched an attack, it would be a big problem. No movement. They should know the situation we are facing now. There are 2 reasons why they haven't made a move. One is that they are not strong enough and need to endure. The other is that if the ancient world group cultivators attack the celestial realm, it won't be good for them. They all want the celestial realm, but there is one in the celestial realm. Naturally, they don't want to have another competitor, King Wu said. Uncle Master is right. What they want most is to see us and the practitioners of the ancient world fight to the death. That way they will have less resistance to invading the celestial realm. Night Sorrow nodded. He had never thought about this, but now that King Yawa had said it, he understood. After that, the Grand Elder brought up the matter of the sermon. Because Night Sorrow had gone into seclusion, the time of the sermon had been delayed. However, many cultivators were still waiting in the divine capital. Listening to the Renawang sermon was something that all cultivators looked forward to. It would be of great help to them. I have no problem with that. Any time is fine, Night Sorrow said. Then make the arrangements. Your Excellency King Wu, you go back and take charge of this matter. I'll stand guard here. If there's a situation, I'll inform you to come back. There's still time, said the Grand Elder. King Wu hesitated because he was worried about the safety of this place. How about this? My original body will stay here to cultivate, and my clone will go to the divine capital. This way there won't be any mistakes. Night Sorrow could see that King Wu was worried. After listening to Night Sorrow's suggestion, King Wu nodded. After chatting for a while, King Wu left. Night Sorrow took out the Haotian pagoda, and his original body went in to cultivate. His body had advanced, so the next step would be to improve himself. He focused on the cultivation of his realm. As for the sermon, Night Sorrow didn't care too much. If he had the power of merit, he would have it. If he didn't, he would continue to work hard to obtain it. Benefiting the celestial realm was what he valued. His original body was stationed at the entrance of the space tunnel. Night Sorrow's clone went to the Tianhuang city and met with Tran Hung, the D***** version. First, seeing Night Sorrow's progress, Tran Hung was very happy. At this time, Night Sorrow had already achieved something. His achievement was different from others because Night Sorrow had merit and 2 high-level forbidden attributes. He had a high chance of surviving the God-destroying tribulation. Tran Hung and Night Sorrow drank a jar of wine and exchanged views on the current situation. Tran Hung said that there was no need to worry. With him here and the defense formation of the Tianhuang city, it was impossible for the demon-winged clan to launch a large-scale attack. As for the teleportation formation, it didn't matter. Once the teleportation formation was activated, he would be able to detect it. This way the demon-winged clan would have no way to retreat after entering the celestial realm. Under such circumstances, the demon-winged clan wouldn't dare to cut off all means of retreat. Most importantly, the demon-winged clan had the demon imperial city. As for the entrance of the ancient world group, Night Sorrow had arranged an unparalleled formation. Even if a divine soul unity realm expert came, King Yawu would be able to suppress or even kill him. There was no need to worry too much. After hearing the city lord's words, I feel a lot more at ease. It seems like the problem isn't that big. Night Sorrow said. Currently it is stable. However, if the situation mentioned by the heavenly concubine happens, it will be worse. Let's take one step at a time. Your 9-domain world is stable. If it doesn't work, we will retreat. When you cultivate the tribulation of 9 emperors, even if the opponent is a half-step divine emperor, you will still be able to fight. They will have to retreat. Tran Hung said the worst-case scenario. Night Sorrow nodded. If that situation happened, no one would be able to do anything. However, Night Sorrow knew that the possibility was very high because the heavenly concubine wasn't someone who spoke without thinking. Night Sorrow stayed in the mansion in the heavenly desolate city for a few days. Lu Qi came. Seeing Night Sorrow, Lu Qi was shocked because no one told him about Night Sorrow's current realm. Not to mention fighting strength, Night Sorrow's realm was the same as his. Moreover, Night Sorrow's body cultivation was much stronger than his. Not to mention him, even Tran Hung and King Yowu's body cultivation were not as good as Night Sorrow's. Young City Lord, what happened to you? Lu Qi looked at Night Sorrow with astonishment. Night Sorrow smiled and said, 2 years ago, I had some achievements in body cultivation and reached the tribulation of the 7 emperors. I was busy stabilizing my realm and didn't come to see Elder 7. Lu Qi took out 2 jars of wine and said, You're not a good friend. I successfully passed the tribulation of the 6 emperors and you went to congratulate me. But you didn't say anything when you reached the tribulation of the 7 emperors. I have 2 jars of wine that have been stored for tens of thousands of years. Let's destroy them. Ah. Okay, then let's go to the divine capital to drink. There isn't anything good to drink here. Night Sorrow smiled and said. Then let's go to my mansion. I'm here to tell the young city lord to give a sermon. Lu Qi said. His main purpose in coming back to the heavenly desolate city was to find Night Sorrow. After greeting Tran Hung, Night Sorrow and Lu Qi went to the divine capital and went to Lu Qi's mansion. When they arrived at Lu Qi's mansion, Night Sorrow was stunned because his son Yi Xiaoxi was in Lu Qi's mansion. In the garden of Lu Qi's mansion, Yi Xiaoluo was standing on a chair and talking loudly without caring about his image. Jianghu, Langli, Kiki and Lu Yu were all listening with smiles. When he noticed Night Sorrow's arrival, Yi Xiaoluo coughed awkwardly and said, Father, we're fine. We were just joking. Greetings, sir. Lu Yu, Jianghu, Kiki and Langli bowed to Night Sorrow. You're welcome. You young people can continue. Pretend you didn't see me. Night Sorrow smiled and entered the mansion with Lu Qi. Chapter 2280. Why would he punish me? Are you saying that I'm talking nonsense? My father doesn't care about this. The most terrifying people in our family are my mother, my aunts and my 2 sisters. As for my father, he doesn't even say anything harsh to us. Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. I really don't understand your Yi family. Langli shook his head. Brother Li, if you have time, you can come to our Yeyue villa as a guest. My parents also hope that us siblings can have like-minded friends. Besides, we are sworn brothers. We are all brothers who have gone through life and death together. It is only right that we meet my parents. Yi Xiaoluo said. All right. We'll wait for Lord's Dao lecture. After the lecture we'll follow you to the 9-domain world. It said that it's difficult to enter the 9-domain world. Don't be weak. We'll be blocked from entering. Langley said. Hehe. We have to believe in Xiaoluo. Xiaoluo is the young realm lord of the 9-domain world. The girl called Cuckoo said with a smile. Big sister Kiki, don't mention young realm lord. This title is not good. My big sister, big brother and little brother have never felt superior just because they are surnamed Yi. I also don't want to use the 3 words young realm lord for anything. Yi Xiaoluo looked at Kiki and said, Xiaoluo, good job. Just based on what you said just now, I admire you. By the way, we really let your Xiaolu down last time. We brought him out to play and something happened. It's really embarrassing. He doesn't even play with us now. Kuka said. It's not that he doesn't want to play with us. He's very talented in cultivation and has been cultivating in seclusion all these years. Otherwise, he would be a little overlord in the ethereal imperial city. Yi Xiaoluo said. We know sect elder Lin. She's Xiaoluo's mother. Xiaoluo, what about you? July asked. My mother isn't from the celestial realm. She's the dark ruler of the dark abyss in the primal chaos domain's reincarnation world. She's currently a member of the god-slaying team. She's also an emperor. Let me tell you, the reincarnation world's dark abyss is my territory. Yi Xiaoluo said while patting his chest. Jianghu and company gave Yi Xiaoluo a thumbs up. They understood Yi Xiaoluo very well. Yi Xiaoluo was not bragging but stating a fact. Night Sorrow and Lu Qi drank together. July and the others came to greet them. This was etiquette and Jianghu and the others understood the situation. How have you guys been? Where have you been? Night Sorrow asked after taking a sip of wine. Over the years we have been to the group of ancient worlds to do some scouting missions. This time we know that Father is going to preach the Tao, so we came back. Yi Xiaoluo bowed. Do what you can and don't take too many risks. Also, if you have nothing to do, go back home more often. Bring your brother over as a guest. I think your mother and aunt would welcome you, Night Sorrow said. Father, don't worry. I will. Yi Xiaoluo nodded. Father's battle avatar is not fixed at a fixed location. My main body is at the entrance of the ancient world group. If you have something to do, you can go there. Or you can go to 9 region cities Heaven Sealing Great Hall to see Father's other avatar. Night Sorrow reminded Yi Xiaoluo once again. He was worried that Yi Xiaoluo would encounter any difficulties in cultivation or life. Yi Xiaoluo bowed again and left with Lu Yu and the others. There's a lot of pressure. After leaving the hall where Night Sorrow and Lu Qi were drinking, Langley exhaled. It's okay now. When my father came out of seclusion 2 years ago, I couldn't stand being in front of him. These 2 years my aura has been suppressed, Yi Xiaoluo said. Yi Shang stayed at Lu Qi's residence before it was time for the sermon. That day, Night Sorrow was drinking tea and talking to Yi Xiaoluo and the others when Shiryu came. Uncle Shiryu, what's the matter? Night Sorrow asked Shiryu to sit. Young City Lord is the successor of God's capital. He is also the person in charge. He should stay in the City Lord's residence. The City Lord also has the same intention. Shiryu said. He was here to invite Night Sorrow. It's nothing. Tell my uncle that my son Xiaoluo is here. I will accompany them for a few more days, Night Sorrow said. I see. Then I will go back and tell the City Lord. Shiryu bowed. Okay, I will send Uncle Shiryu off. Night Sorrow stood up and sent Shiryu out of Lu Qi's residence. Langley and Jianghu looked at each other and nodded. They knew that Night Sorrow and Yi Xiaoluo didn't talk much, but he was very attentive. It could even be said that he didn't care about other people's opinions. He didn't go to the City Lord's residence because he wanted to accompany his son. Normally, people in high positions wouldn't say or do this. Yi Shang also gave pointers to Lang Li's spear cultivation, as well as the others' cultivation. This allowed Lang Li and the others to know what it meant to be broad-minded, and what it meant to be respected. Head of Book 2. Soon, it was time for the preaching. Night Sorrow went to the center of God's capital's central plaza and began his preaching. This time, Night Sorrow first talked about the path of cultivation. From the body to the soul, he dissected and explained little by little. He explained his views and analysis to the people listening. After talking about the problems of the cultivators, Night Sorrow talked about the composition and characteristics of the energy of heaven and earth. He talked about it in detail from the small details. Although Night Sorrow didn't cultivate the ordinary attributes, he had a thorough understanding of the advanced and supreme attributes. Naturally, he had a thorough understanding of the ordinary attributes. After talking about the laws of heaven, will, and the general trend, Night Sorrow also talked about the principles and reasons. He explained some of the principles and reasons that he had comprehended. Okay, that's all I know. I hope it will be helpful to all of you. After talking about Night Sorrow, he stood up and cupped his fist to everyone. Thank you, Human Emperor, for your preaching. Thank you for your kindness as a teacher. All the people listening bowed to Night Sorrow and thanked him. No need to be so polite. I hope that all of you will have success in your cultivation. I hope that the 100 races of the celestial realm will prosper. This is a great wish that must be fulfilled together. Night Sorrow said with a smile. After the preaching, Night Sorrow returned to Lu Qi's residence. He planned to chat with his son and then go to the ancient world spatial passage. In an inconspicuous corner of the crowd of people listening to the preaching, a cultivator's eyes were a little hollow. His soul was being controlled. In his space treasure, Dark Feather was lost in thought. She couldn't understand why Night Sorrow, who was at the same level as her, had such a deep understanding of the Tao, to a level that she couldn't reach. In addition, Night Sorrow's aura also made her feel confused, because she had only felt that kind of aura from Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian. While Dark Feather was lost in thought, the City Lord's residents took out Night Sorrow's battle memory crystal ball and activated it in the big square. Then the elders of the City Lord's residence began to explain the key and essence of the battle. From the battle between Night Sorrow and the Demon Wing clan during the Emperor period, a series of battle images appeared. The battle shown in the memory crystal ball was so tragic. Chapter 2281. In the past, everyone was familiar with Night Sorrow's ability, but now they knew that this ability was not easy to come by. Night Sorrow's battle on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was a battle between a monarch and a sovereign. It was a battle of life and death. Night Sorrow's battle with the Black Dragon was a battle of life and death. Moreover, each battle was a battle of the weak against the strong. That Black Dragon was at the Divine Soul Unity realm, but it was suppressed to death by the Human Emperor's physical strength. That white-robed woman is the guardian of the 9 domains world. Her combat strength is also very strong. The two of them cooperate very well. A cultivator said. Yes, I heard that they entered the Ancient World group and killed many experts. They even killed Divine Soul Unity Realm and Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. They are battle partners. Looking at their battle, we can see how well they work together. The memory crystal balls we saw were all recorded by a third person. There are probably many things that were not recorded. That elder was right. Success is not by chance. The other cultivators also followed up. Hearing this, Dark Feather sent a message to the cultivator under her control and left. She did not dare to show herself, so she controlled a cultivator to come to Shindu City. Originally, she came to inquire about the news and did not take Night Sorrow's lecture to heart. But after hearing it, Dark Feather was deeply moved. In Xiaotian did not speak. Originally, their eyes grew on top of their heads and looked down on Night Sorrow. But Night Sorrow used facts to slap their faces. Night Sorrow could kill Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators, while they were ants in front of Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. This was the difference between heaven and earth. After Night Sorrow arrived at Lu Qi's residence, he chatted with Yi Xiaoluo for a while and reminded him to pay attention to his safety. Then he left Shindu City. Yi Xiaoluo, you're really lucky. I'm not saying this because of your father's achievements, but because of his patience. He's patient and meticulous enough. Moreover, he gave you enough space and care. Liu said. Yes, I'm really very happy. This happiness is not because my father is the Human Emperor. There are some feelings that you won't understand. My father's initial goal was to make the family stable, to let us siblings have a happy and stable life. Yi Xiaoluo said in a low voice. Other than having many wives, His Majesty is perfect in every aspect, Kiki said. The person who said this is because he doesn't understand. There are many stories between my father and my mother as well as a few concubines. Marrying many wives is not even his subjective consciousness. He is loyal to love. As his son, I know this. If you say this in front of my mother and concubines, they will immediately fall out with you. In addition, our Yi family also has family rules. A man can only marry one wife, and the prerequisite for a woman to marry is to marry only one man. Father's love world is the only exception. Yi Xiaoluo said. If you don't understand, you don't have the right to speak. I apologize, Kiki said. It's nothing. Come to my house later, Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. The Yi family is the most powerful family in the 9 domains world. They are the most powerful family in the celestial realm. We must go and see for ourselves, Kiki said with a smile. All right, I'll bring you to see the beautiful city in the sky. I'll bring you to see the prosperous and harmonious Night Moon Empire, Yi Xiaoluo said with a smile. Night Moon Empire? Lu Yu looked at Yi Xiaoluo in confusion. She had never heard of it before. The most powerful empire in the 9 domains world. Unlimited potential. Remember, the core members are surnamed Yi. Ah. Yi Xiaoluo said with a laugh. Based on their strength we should have heard of it. Why haven't we heard anything? Langley said. Yi Xiaoluo shook his head. The members of the Yi family who left the Night Moon Empire to train did not mention their origins. It's hard for such a family not to be strong. I'm really interested, Langley said. Mo Yuqing returned to the Sky General Domain and came out of the space treasure. She held the memory crystal ball of the cultivator she controlled and looked at it in a daze. Captain, the situation is not good. The celestial realm has 3 giants. The 9 domain guardians are very strong and so is Night Sorrow. Yin Xiaoyan's expression was not good. It was difficult for the Demon Wing Clan Alliance to do anything in the current situation. Yes, the situation is not good. I've already reported this to the Divine Ancestor. The Divine Ancestor wants us to endure and let the races of the Celestial Realm and the ancient cultivators fight until both sides are injured, Mo Yuqing said. Yin Xiaotian did not say anything. He was greatly agitated. Night Sorrow's battle avatar stopped at the Night Moon Villa in the ethereal Imperial City. He stopped to wait. The heavenly concubine wanted to come out and fight with him. Night Sorrow agreed. The two decided to meet at the Night Moon Villa. After the heavenly concubine arrived at the Night Moon Villa, Night Sorrow took her to the Twilight Tea House. They went to the Moon Pavilion and introduced the heavenly concubine to Qin Qin. Qin Qin greets the heavenly concubine. Although Qin Qin did not interact much with people, he was well informed and knew about the heavenly concubine's situation. You're too polite. Night Sorrow mentioned you to me. In fact, the life you chose is the real life. The heavenly concubine said with a smile. It's rare that someone other than Night Sorrow understands me. In fact, in the eyes of many people as the Emperor's sworn brother, I'm not seeking to improve myself. This is the life I want. Qin Qin said with a smile. You don't have to care about what others think. Others walk the martial path while you walk the path of tea. There's nothing wrong with that. The meaning of life itself is different. The heavenly concubine said. Jean, I don't have any good gifts. Take this VIP card. Qin Qin took out a VIP card and handed it to the heavenly concubine. Zheng, first IP. After drinking tea, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrived at the spatial passage. After greeting King Yenwu who had already returned, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered the ancient world. This time, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered not to kill, but to understand ancient cultivation and for personal experience. Grand Elder, it's fortunate that the heavenly concubine became a person of the 9 domains world. Her combat strength is far higher than Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian. She's the strongest person of the Demon Wing clan. King Yenwu said. Yes, her transformation is the main reason why the Demon Wing clan's strength has widened the gap between us and them. In addition, she's changed a lot. In the past she was very vicious, but now she's much calmer. The Grand Elder said. In the past she showed off her abilities. Now that she's hidden her sword, it's a great improvement. King Yenwu exhaled. After entering the spatial passage, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine flew toward the interior of the ancient world. Heavenly concubine, I want to ask you something. You're a cultivator born in the previous reincarnation. How much lifespan do you have left? Night Sorrow asked what he had always wanted to ask. Half an era. I was born later than Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian, so I still have half an era left. The heavenly concubine said. That's okay. I'm afraid you'll say it's not much. I'm afraid you'll say it's only thousands or tens of thousands of years. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chapter 2282. I will. Night Sorrow said. And I trust you more than I trust myself. Heavenly concubine said with a smile. Night Sorrow did not say anything, but he felt some pressure in his heart. Since ancient times, there had never been a successful god extermination tribulation. The difficulty was not ordinary. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine proceeded forward. When they approached the spatial passageway, Night Sorrow would clean up any ancient cultivators that threatened the safety of the spatial passageway. Once they were out of the range of the 100 zones, Night Sorrow did not do anything else. At this moment, in a big city in an ancient world filled with ice and snow, 2 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators from Fire King City were reporting to a white-haired man about the attack on Fire King City. Fire King City Lord and Ji Jiao are quite strong, but they were both defeated. The white-haired man in white robes pondered. Ji Jiao has fallen. This is certain. Fire King City Lord was heavily injured and we were powerless to save him. I think. The man with black scales on his forehead said. He was an elder of Fire King City and was called Qingjia. Qingjia, you and Jilu will stay in Ice King City. A realm that can produce Divine Soul Unity Realm experts is very impressive. We have to find it. One of them is at Divine Soul Unity Realm and the other is at Tribulation of 9 Emperors. They are nothing in front of us Profound Ice World cultivators. As long as we find it, we can fight our way in. The white-haired man in white robes said. The white-haired man in white robes was called Xianhua. He was the realm lord of this Profound Ice Ancient World. Of course, he was the strongest cultivator in Profound Ice Ancient World. Thank you, Lord Xianhua, for taking us in. We will do our best for Profound Ice Ancient World. Qingjia and Ji Lu nodded. They had found a new place to stay. Profound Ice Ancient World was stronger than Fire King City. There were 3 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators and many Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators. There were many high-level cultivators in Profound Ice Ancient World mainly because of the special situation in Profound Ice Ancient World. There was a suitable place to undergo the tribulation. When the lightning tribulation descended, its power would be weakened. Of course, only the core members of the Profound Ice Bone Ring had the right to use it. 2 Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine arrived at the Fire King City first. They discovered that the Fire King City was in ruins and there were still cultivators alive, but they were all low-level cultivators. This place has been abandoned. The cultivators here don't even have an emperor. They have probably gone to other factions. The news will spread very quickly. The main reason is that the spatial tunnel is too close to here. Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. This was the situation. In the future, the pressure at the spatial passageway would be great. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine walked around the Ancient World group and explored one ancient world after another. Their goal was to explore, but they didn't let the ancient cultivators who were looking for trouble go. They killed them directly. Night Sorrow needed to fight to accumulate some experience. In the blink of an eye, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine had stayed in the Ancient World chat group for 2 years. They had experienced countless battles, big and small. They had avoided some of the stronger factions. I really don't know where so many cultivators came from in this Ancient World group. Night Sorrow had a headache because there were too many experts. It's not strange. The Ancient World group was formed after many Supreme Worlds were destroyed. They have a long history and the surrounding realms are constantly growing. They are constantly plundering and improving. As for the lightning tribulation, they should have some methods that we don't know about. Heavenly Concubine said. The waters are deep. They have conflicts of interest with the realm cultivators. It's best to describe them as scared of being poor and crazy from being poor. Night Sorrow said. That's true. Heavenly Concubine smiled. Suddenly, Night Sorrow turned to look at Heavenly Concubine. We have to return. A large number of ancient cultivators have entered the 100 regions that I divided. Our men can't fight them head-on. What's going on? Heavenly Concubine didn't understand. Afterward, Yishang said that it was King Yowu who had awakened his true body and told him about the situation. A large group of ancient cultivators had entered the 100 districts. King Yowu went in to stop them, but he encountered 2 Soul Unity Realm cultivators with 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivators. He could only helplessly retreat. So you're saying that the secret of the spatial passageway can't be kept? Heavenly Concubine's smile disappeared because this was a huge crisis. Yes. Since they found our men in this region, they will know the location of the spatial passageway. We can't hide it. Night Sorrow shook his head. If it was other spatial passageways, they could use illusion arrays or other arrays to hide it. However, this spatial passageway couldn't. The aura of the celestial realm was different from the ancient world. The celestial realm was a supreme world. Although the world's origin had reincarnated, its origin energy was still very dense. It couldn't be stopped from seeping into the ancient world through the spatial passageway. Therefore, as long as ancient cultivators approached, they would find clues. You don't have to worry. We'll just defend. We're not afraid of fighting. Heavenly Concubine extended her left hand towards Night Sorrow. Ah, how am I not as heroic as you? You're right. We're not afraid of fighting. Night Sorrow laughed and extended his left hand to shake Heavenly Concubine's. After hearing the news, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine returned to the spatial passageway. A large number of ancient cultivators. After Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine entered the 100 zones, they discovered ancient cultivators approaching to investigate. Night Sorrow didn't have time to pay attention to this. He brought Heavenly Concubine to the spatial passageway and returned to the celestial realm before fusing with his main body. Martial Uncle, I'm back. Night Sorrow nodded towards King Yawu. Let's think of a countermeasure. Soon we'll be fighting them in close combat, King Yawu said. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked at the people at the spatial passageway. They were already preparing for battle. King Yawu, Grand Elder, Heavenly Concubine, Lin Piaomiao, the Divine Beast Clan's clan leader, Jun Xuanji, Long Jin, Zhuodong, and the others all came to the command tent. Night Sorrow, you speak. King Yawu nodded towards Night Sorrow. That's fine. Then I'll talk about the current situation. Night Sorrow explained the situation he had discovered and his own prediction of the situation. War is inevitable. Now we just need to wait for the young city lord, Lord King Yawu, and the Grand Elder to give orders, Golden Dragon King said. War is coming. The other side is very strong. We won't fight head-on. Instead, we'll rely on people and people to fight them. We'll use our limited battle power to display unlimited battle power, Night Sorrow said. The time is not on our side. We have the advantage of formations and people. Night Sorrow, you'll be in charge of the upcoming battle, King Yawu said. Chapter 2283. Night Sorrow, are we going to practice this combined attack formation? Blood-Curing King looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes. Our soldiers can't fight the enemy head-on in the early stages. That would be a huge loss. It's not wise to fight the enemy head-on. We have to wear down the enemy's combat power. The enemy is strong. Under such circumstances, we have to use the combined attack formation if we want to maximize our combat power, Night Sorrow said. That's right. We have to bear the pressure. The soldiers are young and have a bright future. Blood-Curing King was a virtuous and auspicious beast. He had the same thoughts as Night Sorrow. Then we'll practice the combined attack formation. When the time comes, we'll capture one and kill one. That way we can wear down the enemy's combat power, King Yawu said. Then let's hurry up. Whose spatial treasure can accelerate time by more than 10 times? Mine is close to 40 times, Wang Ling said. Then everyone talked about their spatial treasures. In the end, no one had a higher spatial treasure than Night Sorrow's Clear Sky Pagoda. This was because the Clear Sky Pagoda was now a heavenly artifact, origin artifact, and virtuous artifact. It could accelerate time by almost 60 times. In addition, Night Sorrow had gained everyone's trust. Everyone decided to use Night Sorrow's Clear Sky Pagoda to practice the combined attack formation. Night Sorrow's main body was in charge of the spatial passage. His doppelganger brought King Yawu and the others into the Clear Sky Pagoda to study the combined attack formation. 09 Little Say, Net. When they were studying the combined attack formation, everyone introduced their absolute skills and strengths to increase the compatibility. When they heard and tested the defensive power of Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms defense body, King Yawu and the others were shocked. Among everyone present, including him, Night Sorrow's defensive power was not as strong as his. Night Sorrow, your defensive power is the strongest. Your precept domain suppression power is also the strongest. When we attack, you'll focus on defense and control. King Yawu and I will focus on offense. The others will distract the enemy, Heavenly Concubine said. Better? New fastest faster Z upper ES. Alright, I agree with Heavenly Concubine's opinion. King Yawu nodded. The Heavenly Concubine was the protector of the 9 regions world. King Yawu, the Grand Elder, and the current Taishang elders all called her protectors. Sect Elder Duan, what do you think? The Heavenly Concubine asked the Grand Elder. Back in the Demon Wing clan, everyone called him Old Ghost Duan. Now the Heavenly Concubine called him Grand Elder Duan. The other leaders of the Divine Beast clans also called him Grand Elder Duan. Currently, the Grand Elder of the Council of Elders was Lin Piaomiao. Protector Heavenly Concubine's opinion is very suitable. I support it. Sect Elder Duan nodded. Then everyone began to practice the joint attack technique. Everyone present, with the exception of Yi Shang, had years of experience. Even if they weren't array grandmasters, they had at least dabbled in array formations, so it wasn't difficult for them to practice. 5 days in the real world, but everyone had been cultivating for close to a year. They had become very familiar with the joint attack formation. Everyone could adapt to the various positions of the formation, and they could coordinate with each other at will. 09 Little Say, Net. Night Sorrow also told everyone that there wasn't much time left. The other party's troops had already arrived at several areas near the entrance of the space channel and could arrive at any time. Night Sorrow also told the scouts to avoid the ancient cultivators and retreat safely. Once they encountered the ancient cultivators, they would be killed. His doppelganger was alive, so he couldn't let anything happen to him. Night Sorrow took the Great Demon King, Pu Luo, Zhuodong and Long Jin to an illusory formation outside the unparalleled formation and told everyone how to use the formation. Everyone had to stay in the illusory formation during normal times. In this way, even if someone entered the unparalleled formation, no matter how powerful their soul power was, they wouldn't discover anything. In this way they could carry out the crucial group battle at any time. Now the Great Demon King led the Heaven Wasteland Army, Pu Luo led the elites of the Humanitarian League, Zhuodong led the First Army, and Long Jin led the God-slaying team. After explaining everything, Night Sorrow's doppelganger entered the space channel, tore the space and released the Haotian Pagoda. His doppelganger entered the Haotian Pagoda. His doppelganger was going to be the eyes so he could know the situation after the other party arrived. Well, the consumption is negligible. They won't discover me if they don't enter the void turbulence, Night Sorrow said. Everyone knew his plan. They won't have nothing better to do. They'll tear the space and see what's going on, the heavenly concubine said. On this day, Night Sorrow and the others finished practicing the combined attack formation. Just one day later, the practitioners of the ancient world group arrived. They were led by Xianhua. Xianhua, the realm lord of the ancient ice world, brought a brother, several Tribulation 9 Emperors cultivators, an army and Qingjia. It should be somewhere between the supreme world and the sub-supreme world. Very good, this is a real piece of fat meat. There are many companion realms to the supreme world, and even if the supreme world's lifespan is depleted, there are still thousands of reincarnations in the sub-supreme world. But that's not important. What's important is the abundant resources. There are endless possibilities for us. Xianhua's eyes were full of excitement. He needed resources too much. Senior brother, we still have half an era of lifespan. With the resources, we have hope to survive the god-slaying tribulation. The man beside Xianhua said. He was Xianhua's junior brother, Xianqing, who was at the syncretic soul realm. He was the second most powerful person in the ancient ice world. Yes, but we have to be careful. There used to be the aura of practitioners here. They must be on guard. Men, go in and have a look, Xianhua ordered. Night Sorrow's body flashed and arrived near the spatial tunnel. The moment Xianhua's subordinate, a Tribulation 3 Emperor's cultivator, entered the celestial realm, Night Sorrow suppressed him with his Merit's Taboo Dao domain. Then he used the primordial annihilation slash and blasted the head of this unprepared ancient cultivator, directly destroying his head and spirit sea. After killing this ancient cultivator, Night Sorrow returned to the Dao unparalleled great array. The timing is very good. Very good, Jun Xuanji said. Good? What good? My doppelganger could hear their conversation. Their cultivation civilization is very wide, but they don't have doppelganger techniques. Doppelganger techniques are the specialty of the 100 races of the celestial realm. They cultivate doppelganger so they kill whoever comes in. They won't know what's going on here, Night Sorrow said. After waiting for a while, Xianhua raised his eyebrows. If he didn't run to eat alone, then he's dead. That's possible. Go in and check. If you dare to act alone and I catch you, I will make you wish you were dead. No matter how big your opponent's world is, you won't be able to escape my pursuit. Xianqing chose a person and gave him a warning before letting him enter the spatial passageway. Kill. Night Sorrow's body seized the opportunity and attacked again, completing another killing move. Young City Lord, what's the situation with them? Blood Kirin King looked at Night Sorrow, who had returned to the array, and asked. Chapter 2284. No news again? Xianhua and Xianqing looked at each other. Seems like there's something going on. This world won't run away. Let's set up camp first. Xianhua's face turned cold. His two subordinates didn't respond. Xianhua knew that there was something wrong with the space passage. He didn't act rashly but let his men set up camp first. The other party didn't attack directly. Night Sorrow continued to observe Xianhua's team. The men Xianhua brought were strong. There were 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm experts. At this level, the Celestial Realm had no disadvantage. However, there was only 1 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivator in the Celestial Realm. The other party had 5 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators. The difference was huge. The Patriarch of the Divine Beast clan hadn't reached the high-level Tribulation of 9 Emperors. Even with the help of the formation, the difference was obvious. Besides, the other party also had a few tribulation of 7 Emperors cultivators. They couldn't fight head-on. Night Sorrow also told King Yawu and the others about the situation. We can't fight. If we go out, we'll be surrounded. We'll stay here and block with the formation, said King Yawu. Night Sorrow nodded. He thought so too. If they went out to fight and were surrounded, it would be easy to suffer losses. The cultivators of the 100 clans in the celestial realm couldn't afford to die. One loss was one loss, and more ancient cultivators would gather. Then we'll fight with silence. As long as they come in, we'll kill them, said Heavenly Concubine. After Xianhua set up camp, he called out a subordinate of Tribulation of 7 Emperors cultivator. Sector Lord. The cultivator from the Tribulation of the 7 Emperors bowed. Give me a piece of your soul crystal and then go in. Be careful when you go out of the space tunnel. If you can't do it, just retreat. I won't blame you if you retreat. Xianhua said to the subordinate named Li Xiong. I understand. Li Xiong took out a crystal, injected his soul power and handed it to Xianhua. He knew that it was risky to be a pawn, but he couldn't ignore the order. If he didn't accept the order, he would be killed immediately, let alone bear the risk. Uncle Master, Heavenly Concubine, a Tribulation 7 Emperors cultivator from the other side will be coming soon. This one will be more cautious than the previous two. I will ambush them at the entrance of the space tunnel. I will cut off their retreat and then kill them. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he flashed out of the unparalleled formation. Then he tore the space and entered the space passage from the space turbulence. He was ready to cut off Li Xiong's retreat. Night Sorrow's peerless array formation covered the area around the spatial passageway, but there was no array formation around the spatial passageway. This was because the spatial passageway was where the two worlds intersected. If there was an energy shockwave, the array formation's energy would not be able to cover it. King Yawu and the Heavenly Concubine had weapons in their hands and were ready. It was very difficult to kill the Tribulation of the 7 Emperors in an instant, so they planned to attack together and end the battle quickly. Because there was no news of the two people in front, Li Xiong was very cautious. He moved forward bit by bit. The spatial passageway was less than 100 feet away. He walked for a while, mainly because there was an energy shockwave from the two worlds. His soul power couldn't penetrate it. It was the same for Night Sorrow, who was in the spatial turbulence. His soul power could only cover a few meters in front of him, but that was enough for him. He could confirm whether Li Xiong had gone over or not. As long as Li Xiong went over, he would cut off his path of retreat, not giving Li Xiong a chance to retreat. Li Xiong was very slow because this was related to his life. When he arrived in front of Night Sorrow, he took 15 minutes. After detecting Li Xiong's past, Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. $B%. When Li Xiong stood at the entrance of the spatial passageway and looked outside, Night Sorrow moved. His left hand tore the space and then he attacked with the Samsara halberd. Beginning of destruction / Night Sorrow attacked with the beginning of destruction / Realizing that there was an attack behind him, Li Xiong turned around and slashed with his saber. Bang! With a muffled sound, Li Xiong's body was sent flying. His true chi energy was higher than Night Sorrow's by a notch. After being melted by the beginning attribute, he was at a disadvantage. In terms of strength, the gap between the two was even bigger. Li Xiong couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's attack at all. Li Xiong's body was sent flying, and half of the saber in his hand was shattered. It was annihilated by the Samsara halberd. At this moment, King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine made their moves. Both of them were at the Divine Soul Unification realm and could even be said to be experts at the Divine Soul Unification realm. Before Li Xiong could react, his body was struck by a spear and a sword. His physical body was directly destroyed. When Li Xiong's soul body was about to escape, Night Sorrow's human emperor's seal appeared. The fire of merit wrapped around his soul body, and then the Samsara halberd pierced into his soul body. King Yawu followed up with another strike, and Li Xiong's soul body was annihilated. In 2 breaths, Li Xiong was completely annihilated. At the entrance of the spatial passage, Xianhua looked at the darkened soul crystal in his hand and exhaled. He then looked at the entrance of the spatial passage. Senior brother, it seems like the first 2 who entered didn't escape. They are dead, said Xianqing. Let's stabilize first. We don't know what's going on over there. It seems like they are prepared for war. They can destroy the Fire King city, so they aren't weak. The most important thing is that we don't know them well. If we act rashly, we will be in danger. Xianhua shook his head. He wasn't a brainless person. Li Xiong, who was a Tribulation 7 emperors, went in cautiously. He even told him to retreat if he couldn't do it. Even so, he still died in a moment. This made him know that things weren't simple, and his vigilance increased again. Xianqing nodded. This situation also made him understand that the world they were about to enter was different from the previous world domains. It was a tough bone to chew. The other party had set up camp. Night Sorrow had also explained the situation to King Yewu and the others. It was tiring to be highly focused while waiting for the battle. Not bad. We killed 3 Tribulation Emperors, said Lin Yuanjun, the leader of the White Tiger race, who didn't speak much. It won't be so easy after this. That guy can command so many experts. He won't be a fool. They will also think of countermeasures. Night Sorrow shook his head. After leading his subordinates to set up camp, Xianhua called someone over and asked him to return to the ancient ice world. He asked the 3 realm lords to bring the remaining experts over. He knew that if they succeeded this time, the benefits would be great. However, the difficulty would also be relatively high. Therefore, he planned to use all the strength of the ancient ice world to attack the celestial realm. Hearing Xianhua's arrangement, Night Sorrow knew that the situation was getting worse. The other party's troops would get stronger and stronger. However, they couldn't afford to fight head-on now. Night Sorrow's doppelganger investigated the situation while his original body was deep in thought. At this time, no one disturbed Night Sorrow. After thinking for a while, he couldn't think of any good ideas. Night Sorrow sighed. Chapter 2285. This won't do. There's a huge problem in this. The other side has 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. This will restrict Martial Uncle and Protector Heavenly Concubine. They have 5 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators. At this level, we're at an absolute disadvantage. We can't fight them head-on. Also, if my doppelganger goes out, it'll be impossible for us to investigate because Realm Master Shen Bing will be watching the entrance of the space tunnel. Even the slightest energy fluctuation can't be hidden from her. If we're exposed, it'll be impossible to sneak in and out, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow was able to stay in the turbulent space without being discovered. If it were someone else, they wouldn't be able to control their aura perfectly. They would be discovered if they leaked even a little bit. However, he had the leakless true body and the Thousand Realms defensive body to prevent his aura from leaking out. Lin Yuanjun nodded. He understood the difference between Tribulation of 5 Emperors and 6 Emperors cultivators and high-level Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators. What should we do next? They'll get more and more people. Sect Elder Duan was a little worried. All we can do now is defend. With the Peerless Great Formation, they won't have any advantage even if they enter. If they dare to enter the formation, we'll kill them. In addition, there's an area with a radius of 300 meters that the formation can't cover. Once they appear, we'll attack them forcefully and blast them into the formation's range to kill them, Night Sorrow said. That's all we can do. Don't feel pressured. This is the best we can do. It's not our problem if we can't defend it. We can only say that man proposes and God disposes, said King Yewu. Night Sorrow nodded. In fact, he had thought of everything he could think of. Night Sorrow, try not to let the First Army and the God-slaying team participate in the battle. They have great potential, but it's a fact that they haven't cultivated for long. With them around, even if something happens to the Celestial Realm, they'll have no problem regaining their lost land after 1 or 2 eras or 3 or 4 eras, King Yewu said. Night Sorrow nodded. This was a battle between high-level cultivators. The First Army and the God-slaying team couldn't interfere. In addition, Yishang understood this principle well. If the people remained, the land would be lost. If the people remained, the people and the land would be lost. Xianhua and Xiancheng kept looking at the entrance of the space tunnel. He asked his subordinates to go back to the ancient ice world and bring more people here. Xuanqing, what do you think the other party can do over there? Xianhua looked at Xiancheng and asked. It can make a tribulation of the 7 sovereigns fall in an instant? It should be a joint attack. Li Xiong's defense is not good and he still has shortcomings. His life-saving ability is not enough. Xianqing thought for a moment and said, You're right, Jixiong. Xianhua shouted behind him. A cultivator of the Tribulation of 9 Emperors came to Xianhua's side and bowed to him. What can I do for you, my lord? Night Sorrow sensed that this Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivator named Jixiong was tall and sturdy, and that his body was constantly surrounded by rays of light. He knew that his physical defense had reached a certain level. K** edition. First release *M, Li Xiong has fallen, but his cultivation is low and his defense is not enough. You go in and take a look. If this attack is successful, I, Xianhua, will give you the first credit, Xianhua said. Jixiong looked at Xianhua and was stunned for a moment. Then he nodded. He was a little dissatisfied. 3 cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors had fallen one after another. It was very risky. It could be said that he was used as cannon fodder by Xianhua. However, although he was dissatisfied, Jixiong still had to carry out Xianhua's order. If he didn't, he might die. He knew Xianhua's temper and nature too well. After accepting the mission, Jixiong left the soul crystal and walked toward the entrance of the space tunnel. After Night Sorrow told King Yewu and the others about the situation, he lurked in the void turbulence at the entrance of the space tunnel again. He was ready to cut off Jixiong's escape route. He wouldn't let the people who came in go back. He would report the situation here to Xianhua. Jixiong was very cautious. He probed forward bit by bit, but the result was no different from Li Xiong's. When he came out of the space tunnel, he was attacked violently by Night Sorrow, who appeared behind him. 2 shots. Night Sorrow blasted Jixiong into the unparalleled Great Formation with 2 shots. Then King Yewu and the Heavenly Concubine took over and destroyed Jixiong's body. Night Sorrow used the Fire of Virtue to restrict Jixiong's soul from escaping and then killed it. Seeing the soul crystal in his hand turn dark, Xianhua squeezed his hand and crushed the soul crystal. Senior brother, what's going on? How strong is the other party to be able to kill Jixiong in such a short time? Even his soul can't come back? Xianqing asked in surprise. We can't send people to investigate for now. Sending more people will just be sending them to their deaths. They should have some tricks that we don't know about. Xianhua knew that the situation was very complicated. It wasn't as simple as he thought. After listening to Xianhua and Xianqing's conversation, Night Sorrow knew that they would enter a stable phase of confrontation. Xianhua didn't want to take risks himself, but he also didn't want his subordinates to keep sending themselves to their deaths. Rest. They won't be investigating for a while. In the celestial realm, Night Sorrow's original body said. They won't be investigating? If they continue investigating, our battle results will expand infinitely. Slowly our strength will be evened out, Huangling said. Do you think they are stupid? They have already sent 4 people to their deaths and they still want to send more? Heavenly Astral Monarch said with a smile. Can't I just think about it? Huangling looked at her husband with dissatisfaction. Listening to their conversation, they are from the ancient profound ice realm. The leader is the ancient profound ice realm's realm lord, Xianhua. The other divine soul unity realm cultivator is his junior brother, Xianqing. Now they have sent people back to mobilize more people, Night Sorrow said. The situation is getting worse. Sect Elder Duan shook his head. As long as the unparalleled Great Array is effective, it doesn't matter if they increase their manpower or not. When they come in, we will bombard the unparalleled Great Array and bring their people into the Great Array. At that time, they will still be at our mercy, Night Sorrow said as he looked at the empty area near the entrance of the passage. King Yewu and the others nodded. Night Sorrow saw the difficulty, but he also saw the essence of the matter. You did a good job as a scout. Now we need to know ourselves as well as the enemy, White Tiger Patriarch said. Everyone understood that if there wasn't the right information, it would be difficult to stop Li Xiong and Ji Xiong if they wanted to run back. Night Sorrow was also very successful in cutting off the retreat path. He stopped the ancient cultivators from moving forward to investigate, so the ancient cultivators didn't dare to investigate casually. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was the scout, and his original body entered the clear sky pagoda to continue cultivating. If there was a situation, his doppelganger's soul would shake, and his original body would immediately respond. King Yewu also made some arrangements. It was to block the entrance of the space passage. He arranged for people to set up a blockade. Apart from the current troops, anyone who approached without permission would be killed without mercy. He did this because he didn't want the Devil Wing clan spies, who were already deep in the celestial realm, to find out the real-time situation of the battle between the 100 clans and the ancient cultivators in the celestial realm. He was worried that the Devil Wing clan would take advantage of the situation and loot a burning house. Chapter 2286. The older generation of cultivators in the celestial realm had the awareness that they should have. The promising young people in the clan did not participate in the battle, as they were the hope of the future, just like the members of the First Army and the God-slaying team. However, some of the members who had exhausted their potential had joined the battle, as they knew that it was time to fight for the celestial realm. Night Sorrow did not know about these things, as they were all arranged by the Divine Beast clans. Because the human race, the Heaven Wasteland Army, and the Humanitarian League had all come, they also had to contribute. Xianhua calmed down. He knew that the opposite world could not run away. If there was no plan and no proper arrangement of attack, then the losses would continue. This was not a situation that he wanted to see. The situation became a stable stalemate. Knight Sorrow wanted to fight his way out, but he did not have the strength. Xianhua wanted to fight his way in, but he did not have the confidence. This was the root cause of the stalemate. The brothel of the three realms of the ancient ice world had arrived with more than 20 people, all of whom were Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Although the people had arrived, Xianhua did not attack directly. Instead, he gathered the higher-ups of the ancient ice world. Second brother, third brother, after the incident in the Fire King city, many cultivators joined the new forces just like Green Armor and Jilu. Their cultivation and level are not high, but the news they bring out will be valued by other forces. During this period of time, there are many cultivators coming in. We will stay here and gather these people. Those who are useful to us will stay, and those who are not will be killed. If we use these people as the vanguard, we will lose less cultivators. Xianhua explained his idea, which was the strategy of using cannon fodder. Although Xianhua did not care about how many of his subordinates died, he cared about whether the battle would be won or not. His subordinates were loyal, so it was better to lose other cultivators than to lose his own people. After listening to Xianhua's idea, Xian Cheng and the brothel both nodded in admiration, because this was a good plan. The other higher-ups of the ancient ice world also agreed with Xianhua's idea, because they could avoid unnecessary casualties. They knew about the deaths of Li Xiong and Ji Xiong, and they did not want to become the second Li Xiong or Ji Xiong. Upon discovering this situation, Knight Sorrow felt that it was somewhat troublesome because if this continued, Xianhua would gather more and more cultivators. However, Knight Sorrow could not change the situation because the people of the Celestial Realm could not attack. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. The Celestial Realm could only defend and rely on the unparalleled matrix to defend. However, Knight Sorrow was confident in the unparalleled Great Array. It was the highest interpretation of his Array Dao and also contained many heavenly Dao principles. Even Divine Soul Unity Realm experts would be trapped. As Xianhua was not in a hurry to attack, the stalemate continued. Knight Sorrow's main body and the Nine Realms doppelganger were in the midst of cultivating. Knight Sorrow's main body was cultivating his body and cultivation base while the Nine Realms doppelganger was researching the Thousand Realms defensive body. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. The strength of the ancient profound ice world had increased a lot. The ancient experts who had come here had all been subdued. Of course, there were some who were not convinced. Those who were not convinced were either killed or ran away. Xianhua and his brothers were strong, but they were not confident in killing other Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. Some of them who were good at speed ran away directly. After 2 years in reality, Knight Sorrow came out of seclusion. During these 2 years he had been cultivating in the Clear Sky Pagoda. His cultivation base had increased rapidly, mainly because of the mode of using strength to prove one's Tao. In addition, his current level was different from when he was cultivating the momentum of heaven and earth. #debut #to cultivate the momentum of heaven and earth, one had to be in contact with heaven and earth. To cultivate one's own momentum, one had to cultivate one's own body. After coming out of seclusion, Knight Sorrow first told King Yewu and the others about the situation he had discovered. The situation is getting worse mainly because of the unparalleled Great Array. If they can't break it, then everything will be up to Wuyo. If they can't withstand it, then we have to consider some bad consequences, King Yewu said. The unparalleled Great Array is the crystallization of my Array Dao. It can't be any stronger, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow, what's the situation of the Nine-Domain world? Regardless of the outcome of the war, the Nine-Domain world will accommodate all races in the future. Can you let the seedlings of the Celestial Realm go there? Of course, this is up to you, King Yewu said. Yes, but no matter which force or race they are, they have to obey the orders of the Nine-Domain Commander's residence when they enter the Nine-Domain world. What I want is a stable Nine-Domain world, Knight Sorrow said. Don't worry about that. The elders will cooperate with the Nine-Domain Commander's residence. Those who don't listen to orders will be expelled. Those who have bad behavior will be killed, Elder Duan said. Okay, Sister Shen, you can make the arrangements. Currently, the Nine-Domain world has been expanding. It's almost half the size of the Celestial Realm. It won't be a problem to accommodate all races. As for the division of regions, you can discuss it with Deputy Commander Tai Shu, Deputy Commander Yun, and Grandpa. But remember one thing, you can't affect the development of the native cultivators of the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. Okay. Lin Piaomiao nodded. With this arrangement, the races of the celestial realm won't be wiped out. What's left is a war without any worries, Lin Yuanjun said. The others nodded. They had always wanted to find a way out for their people, but it wasn't easy for them to ask. Today King Yewu spoke for them. There are many world groups around the 9-domain world. The Chaos Realm is also a top world group. Other than the 3 great worlds, there are also the 3,000 worlds, Night Sorrow said. This is a top-tier realm. The realms we know of don't have such a scale. Hearing Yi Shang's description of the Chaos World Group, everyone present was very surprised. Yes, those heavenly general domains and so on can't compare at all. However, I've always felt that originally, the living beings in the primal chaos domain lived well. It was I who opened the passage between the primal chaos domain and the heavenly domain. If the living beings outside the primal chaos domain entered the primal chaos domain and affected their lives, then it would be my fault. Yi Shang spoke his thoughts. It's not like that. You've misunderstood. Communication between worlds is necessary. It's also the key to civilization improvement. Before you, the cultivators of various worlds also worked hard to open a channel to communicate with the outside world. This is an opportunity for development. Although cultivators from other worlds enter, they can still come out and obtain some opportunities that they can't get in this world. King Yewu corrected Night Sorrow's words. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt that King Yewu was right. Although it was a disadvantage for others to enter, the people of this world could go out and see the civilization of the outside world. While they were talking, Emperor Tang came. He was mainly concerned about the Tianhuang city. Tran Hung was worried about the situation here. Elder Duan told Emperor Tang about the situation and asked him to report back to Tran Hung. Okay. Also, Tran Hung asked if the Tianhuang steel guards were needed. Emperor Tang told him what Tran Hung meant. Chapter 2287. Night Sorrow had thought about it. In the upcoming battle, no matter what kind of battle it would be a battle between top-notch cultivators in the early stages. Ordinary soldiers would not be able to interfere. If they stepped forward, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Now he was the commander of the battle. He had to be responsible for all the living beings in the celestial realm. After they were done with the important matters, everyone started to chat. While drinking tea, Night Sorrow took out the poison pearl that he had obtained after killing the poison jackal and killing the poison spirit. Night Sorrow, what are you doing? The heavenly concubine looked at Night Sorrow. There are some things that I don't want to do, but I have to do them. Night Sorrow sighed and said, You are the merit the arch. If you kill too fiercely, you will go against the heavens and harm your own merit. The heavenly concubine frowned and said, Perhaps. However, I am not killing for the sake of killing. I am killing to stop killing. For the sake of the celestial realm's 100 races to have a stable space to develop, I am willing to do some things. I don't care about being scolded. Right or wrong, I will leave it to the heavens to judge, Night Sorrow said. He knew that the heavenly concubine understood his thoughts. He wanted to concoct poison. What are the two of you talking about? Night Sorrow, you must not do anything that harms your own merit. What is that in your hand? King Yewu asked suspiciously. The heavenly concubine was very serious. Poison. It is a strange poison. I am sure that it can harm cultivators in the tribulation of 9 emperors. As for whether it can harm Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators, I am not sure. I was poisoned the last time. If not for the fire of merit, I would have suffered greatly, Night Sorrow said. Give it to me. I will concoct it. The Grand Elder reached out to take the poison pearl. He was willing to bear some of the blame himself. He did not want Night Sorrow to bear it. The poison pearl came from me. The karma is with me. Let me do it. Night Sorrow kept the poison pearl and left. Things aren't inevitable. Good and bad can be done with a single thought. What was Night Sorrow's motive? For the sake of the living beings of the celestial realm, he sacrificed his own achievements to protect the billions of living beings in the celestial realm. This is a great kindness. As for whether it is a merit or a fault, just as Night Sorrow said, let the heavenly axiom decide. King Yewu said. After hearing King Yewu, the others didn't say anything, but they were worried, especially King Blood Lin, because he had destroyed his virtuous body. Night Sorrow took the spatial treasure and entered the space vortex. After thinking for a bit, he activated the poison pearl and began to absorb the poisonous energy. He then supplemented it with other materials to refine the poison. What he refined was the most diffuse poisonous smoke. Night Sorrow was afraid of failure when he entered the chaotic streams of space. He was afraid that the poisonous gas would leak out and cause unnecessary trouble. In 2 days, Night Sorrow refined more than 20 bottles of poisonous smoke. The energy of the poison pearl was only reduced by 1/10. Then he returned to the real world. Seeing Night Sorrow, King Blood Lin and the others looked very serious. They knew what was going to happen next, but they didn't know the consequences. Come on. Aren't they very excited to block the spatial passage? Let them try it first, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then wait for them to attack. Don't use it directly. King Heavenly said. Waiting for them to attack is just a way to feel at ease. Xianhua sent spies to investigate. The war is already clear. Night Sorrow shook his head. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the others didn't try to persuade him. They knew that Night Sorrow had already made up his mind. If they tried to persuade him, it would only affect his mood. Everyone be careful and prepare for the battle. If I go in now, they might retaliate strongly. It's also possible that they will directly attack. Don't be caught off guard, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Now that they are stronger, they will do things crazily. Maybe they will really attack. King Yewu nodded. Night Sorrow's words were possible. After explaining to King Yewu and the others, Night Sorrow entered the spatial passage. He knew that it was impossible to act secretly because Xianhua and the others' soul power had been locked on the spatial passage. Night Sorrow was still 10 meters away from the spatial passage. When he sensed with his doppelganger and felt that he would be discovered if he went any further, he took out the poison he named Wolf Smoke. Looking at the bottles of poisonous smoke in his hand, Yi Sorrow took a deep breath and then threw out 10 bottles. They were all aimed at the entrance of the spatial passageway and flew out from different angles. After flying for a distance, the bottles exploded and the poisonous smoke appeared. At that moment, Xianhua and the others realized that something was wrong. They wrapped the poisonous smoke with their energy. Naturally, they could distinguish the difference between the new energy and the original energy. After being wrapped by the energy, the poison of the wolf smoke followed the energy and invaded their bodies. Cut off the energy. You can't wrap it. Cut the void and banish the energy to the void, Xianhua shouted after cutting off the energy he released. Hearing Xianhua's words, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's expression changed. Cut the void? Then he was in danger of being exposed. Night Sorrow's body flashed rapidly. In an instant he was thousands of miles away. Then he entered the clear sky pagoda and shrunk it again. He didn't want to be exposed. Fortunately, his doppelganger was using the clear sky pagoda, while his main body was using the 8-dragon cauldron. The clear sky pagoda was stronger in this aspect. Xianhua and the others reacted quickly, but they still underestimated the power of the wolf smoke. The few people who used energy to wrap the wolf smoke were invaded by the energy and collapsed instantly. The others used energy attacks to cut the void and banish the wolf smoke. However, the wolf smoke spread very quickly. They couldn't completely banish it. With the impact of the energy, it spread in all directions. DL original version of starter 3 domain defense eroded, dead. Precept domain eroded, severely damaged. Persevering was only temporary. Hor, take everyone and retreat. Shenqing, we will monitor this place. Be careful to avoid the poisonous smoke. Xianhua didn't give the order to attack because he didn't dare. The celestial realm had already attacked, and he wasn't confident in fighting. Hor retreated with her people. Only Xianhua and Shenqing were left at the scene. Their bodies were constantly flashing, and their sleeves were constantly shaking. Senior brother, what kind of poison is this? Why is it so overbearing? Shenqing asked Xianhua with a gloomy expression. I don't know. I've never heard of any poison that is so overbearing. After we enter, I will kill them all. Xianhua's face was filled with murderous intent. At this moment, the area near the spatial passageway was filled with corpses. Other than the cultivators who reacted quickly enough, he had lost a lot of people this time. He had lost nearly 1/3 of his men. Shameless boasting. I will slowly play with you. After hearing Xianhua's words, Night Sorrow's main body appeared at the spatial passageway. You were the one who released the poison? Xianhua looked at Night Sorrow and roared. Chapter 2288. Although Xianhua was furious, he didn't dare to chase because he didn't know the strength of the Celestial Realm's troops. A poisonous smoke attack was enough to send the troops of the ancient ice world flying. If they had any other methods, the entire ancient ice world would be annihilated. How was it? Seeing Night Sorrow return, Lin Piaomiao and the others asked excitedly. The effect was great. I don't know if I should be happy or sad. War is too cruel. Night Sorrow shook his head. Although they had heavily injured the cultivators of the ancient ice world, it wasn't the result that Night Sorrow wanted. Did they suffer heavy losses? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and asked. The Soul Uniting Realm cultivators weren't injured. 2 of the tribulation of the 9 emperors were injured. The rest suffered heavy losses, close to 1/3, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, how do you feel? Is there a problem? Elder Duan kept looking at Night Sorrow. He was worried that Night Sorrow would harm the heavens and his own merit by killing the ancient cultivators. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't feel any discomfort. His merit Dao body was still the same. Seeing Night Sorrow shake his head, Lin Piaomiao and the others felt more at ease. Everyone was worried about this. After this, the cultivators of the ancient ice world won't dare to attack. It will be a deterrent. Night Sorrow explained the situation and entered the 8-dragon cauldron to cultivate. Although there are no negative effects, he feels guilty. He killed 1/3 of them. That means he killed a lot of ancient cultivators. King Yawu sighed. Death was inevitable in war, but no one was willing to face death. Night Sorrow's original body went to cultivate. His doppelganger was still monitoring Xianhua and Xiancheng. Xianhua and Xiancheng dispersed the poisonous smoke. Then they looked at each other. The situation wasn't good for them. This was fatal. Xiancheng, go to the back and tell the brothel to back off. We can't be hurt by the poisonous smoke. Xianhua said to Xiancheng. Xiancheng nodded and left to arrange Xianhua's orders. Opportunity. Night Sorrow realized that this was an opportunity to take care of Xianhua. After coming out of the 8-dragon cauldron, Night Sorrow shouted at Heavenly Concubine and King Yawu. Let's attack. There's only Xianhua over there. The others have retreated to the back. Let's kill him first, Night Sorrow said to the others. 2 #initial watch, then let's do it. King Yawu and the others also felt that this was an opportunity. King Yawu, Heavenly Concubine, Night Sorrow, Elder Duan, and the Patriarch of the Divine Beast clan charged towards the spatial tunnel. When Xianhua discovered it, Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine had arrived. The 3 of them used the heaven, earth, and human tripartite formation to attack together. Night Sorrow focused on defense and suppression, while King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine began to violently attack. Men! Xianhua shouted. He had asked for help. The current situation was a great crisis for him. Follow me to the front to block them, Elder Duan shouted at Lin Yuanjun, King Blood Kirin, and Golden Dragon King. They were now racing against time. They had to buy time for Night Sorrow and the others to kill Xianhua. Night Sorrow released the Human Sovereign's seal. The Merit Taboo Primordial Domain suppressed Xianhua. Then, the Primordial Destruction / continuously attacked Xianhua. After 2 breaths of time, Xianhua was hit. The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Sword Qi had entered his body. After being hit, Xianhua kept getting hit. The Spear Light and Sword Qi kept entering his body. I seal. Melting snow. Xianhua, who was severely injured, roared. Then, white extremely cold air emerged from his body and spread in all directions. Then he turned into several snowy figures and fled in all directions. When Night Sorrow, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine defeated the snowmen that were chasing after them, another snowman ran far away and collected the energy of the snowman that they had defeated. Elder Duan, let's retreat. Seeing that it was too late to chase and kill them, Night Sorrow shouted at the Grand Elder and the others who were setting up defenses in the distance. They were about to fight with Xiancheng and the brothel. When Xiancheng and the brothel brought a few cultivators from the tribulation of the 9 emperors to kill them, Night Sorrow and the others retreated to the celestial realm. Prepare for battle. After retreating to the celestial realm, Night Sorrow shouted. Then he stood guard at the entrance of the spatial tunnel and sent a clone to investigate. When Night Sorrow's original body, King Yawu, and the Heavenly Concubine joined forces to kill Xianhua, Night Sorrow's clone did not make a move. He knew that if they could kill Xianhua, there was no need for his clone to make a move. If they couldn't kill Xianhua, his clone would be useless. The celestial realm's preparation for battle was useless. After Xianhua, Xiancheng, and the brothel met up, they did not attack. Xianhua's face was pale. He was seriously injured, but he was still holding on. Xiancheng, the brothel, you two take people and guard here. I need to go into seclusion. Xianhua entered the spatial treasure and began to recover. He was seriously injured, and in the end, he had consumed the ice origin energy that he had been accumulating for many years to cultivate the lost art. They won't attack. I'll observe the situation first and see if we have a second chance to attack, Night Sorrow's original body said to King Yewu and the others. King Yewu nodded. It was a pity that they didn't kill Xianhua, but it was also a good result that Xianhua was seriously injured. Xianhua's spatial treasure stood near the entrance of the spatial tunnel. Xianqing, the brothel, and the 4 tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators were camping on one side. Let's play again. Everyone watch the situation carefully. If the battle starts, heavenly concubine, you're faster. Pay more attention to Xianhua who comes out of the spatial treasure. Now you guys enter my spatial treasure first and act according to the situation, Night Sorrow said to the heavenly concubine and the others. Then Night Sorrow put King Yewu and the others into the spatial treasure and entered the spatial tunnel. They slowly approached the ancient world. When they were about to be detected, Night took out the smoke bottle and threw it between Xianqing, the brothel, and the others. When the brothel was about to intercept it, the bottle was blasted apart by Night Sorrow's energy. Run. Knowing the power of the smoke, the brothel and the other tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators turned around and ran. They were already frightened by the power of the smoke. The corpses on the ground were the work of the smoke. Xianqing didn't run. He used his energy to vibrate Xianhua's spatial treasure. Xianhua was his senior brother. No matter how dangerous the situation was, he couldn't leave Xianhua behind. Vibrate your protective precept domain. Don't let the poisonous smoke get close. Let's start the battle now, Night Sorrow said. His soul power vibrated and transferred King Yewu and the others out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Then he charged towards Xianqing. King Yewu and the heavenly concubine's target was Xianhua's spatial treasure. The Grand Elder and the others cooperated with Night Sorrow to fight Xianqing. Don't worry about me. Use all your strength to control that guy. Don't let him run. Night Sorrow shouted at Clan Elder Duan and the others. The target of this battle wasn't Xianqing but Xianhua. He would restrain Xianqing while the others went all out to kill Xianhua. If they could kill Xianhua, the situation of the battle would change again. The spatial treasure exploded and Xianhua appeared. Chapter 2289. New W, Chapter 5, Upper X. Nonsense. You are the one who deserves to die. The heavenly concubine retorted. She waved the long sword in her hand, and streaks of compassion sword chi attacked Xianhua. King Yewu's divine spear moved freely, and the spear light shot into the sky. While suppressing Xianhua, it also constantly caused damage. The Grand Elder, White Tiger King, and the others used an array to attack together, restricting Xianhua's movements. A seal. Snow melt. The situation was not good. Xianhua used his ultimate move again. A seal. Huang Ling floated back and then used the Ice Phoenix Race's ultimate move. The Heavenly Astral King also used this ultimate move from another angle. Xianhua could use Ice Seal and so could the Celestial Realm cultivators. Although their cultivation levels were different and the power of the ultimate move was different, it could still restrict Xianhua's movements. After all, it was an ultimate move that belonged to Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King's energy. Xianhua roared. His Ice Seal was effective, but it could not seal King Yewu and the Heavenly Concubine for long. The energy body produced by his Snow Melt ultimate move had to constantly break the ice energy used by Huang Ling and the Heavenly Astral King. It had no speed at all, so it could not escape. Overlord kill. The long spear in King Yewu's hand shot out a dark red spear light. It was his ultimate move that controlled the spear with his spirit. As the red spear light shot out, one of Xianhua's snow figures was scattered. After King Yewu caught up, his long spear vibrated and annihilated the snow figure's energy. Night Sorrow's main body gave up on Xianqing and used the Void Step. The beginning Great Destruction Slash also blasted one of Xianhua's snow figures. Then the Fire of Merit appeared and annihilated the snow figure's energy. The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Sword Chi also hit the snow figure that had been slowed down by the Heavenly Astral King's ice energy. At this time, Xianhua still had 2 snow figures flying forward. Karmic Taboo Reincarnation Dao Domain. Night Sorrow's doppelganger appeared from the void's turbulent streams and used his Dao domain to suppress Xianhua. The Bloodbath Evil Vanquishing Spear executed the true reincarnation dragon arc to attack Xianhua's snowy doppelganger. At this critical moment, if Xianhua did not stop it, Xianhua's snowy doppelganger would escape. Xianhua was only left with a snowy figure, and he had already broken through the ice seal of the 1,000 miles and began to flee. Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd flew toward Xianhua's last energy body. King Yewu was fighting with Xiancheng. The heavenly concubine was in another direction. She couldn't make a move in time. That was all he could do. The Samsara halberd pierced through the sky and struck the last snowy figure of Xiancheng like a bolt of lightning. His physical body was annihilated, but his spiritual body was still there. The spiritual body continued to fly. Night Sorrow caught up with Xianhua. He had no time to retrieve the Samsara heavenly halberd. He used the human emperor's seal and trapped Xianhua's soul with the fire of merit. Then he attacked Xianhua's soul with the soul-destroying slash and the fist aura. I will definitely destroy all of you. Xianhua's soul ran forward with the fire of merit. At this time, the heavenly concubine also came up. The compassion sword Qi attacked Xiancheng's soul. The Grand Elder and the others surrounded Xiancheng and assisted King Yewu in attacking Xiancheng. At this time the prostitute came with people. Night Sorrow and the others were in a difficult situation because the prostitute had brought many people with her. There were many cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Retreat. Uncle Master, retreat with your people. Night Sorrow shouted. Although they could not get the battle results, King Yewu and Sect Elder Duan retreated with their people. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine did not leave. They were still attacking Xianhua's soul. Night Sorrow would rather be trapped than kill Xianhua. The previous few snowy figures of Xianhua were easy to kill because they were external incarnations. Now this was the spiritual body of the original body. It was very difficult to kill because it had a strong vitality. King Yewu and the others retreated. Xiancheng was free. He attacked Night Sorrow. Heavenly concubine, get ready to enter my clear sky pagoda. Night Sorrow's clone attacked and stopped Xiancheng. The original body continued to attack Xianhua's soul with soul-extinguishing slash and oscillating fist. The heavenly concubine also attacked with all her might. Rays of compassion sword Qi shot towards the virtuous fire that wrapped around Xianhua's soul. Kill. The prostitute brought her people and surrounded Xianhua. Void Step 1,000 Realms Defense. Night Sorrow used his movement technique to dodge the attacks of the prostitute and the others. He did not stop attacking Xianhua. The heavenly concubine also spread her saint spirit wings. Her body was like an illusion. She surrounded Xianhua's soul and attacked. She understood Night Sorrow's intention. He wanted to kill Xianhua at all costs. Killing Xianhua was very important to the 100 races of the celestial realm. It was equivalent to beheading their leader. It would be a great blow to the strength and morale of the ancient profound ice world. Xiao Shi and the others unleashed saber beams at Yishang's true body. Endure. Since he could not dodge, Night Sorrow used the 1,000 Realms defense to endure. The astral blades of the prostitute and the others were weakened when they entered Night Sorrow's Sumeru spatial world. When they hit Night Sorrow's body they did some damage, but it was not great. The real damage was from the prostitute's astral blades. Half an hour later, under the crazy attacks of Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine, Xianhua's soul was destroyed in half an hour. Enter my treasure. Night Sorrow shouted at the heavenly concubine. Then he used a palm blade to tear apart space. His original body merged with his clone and brought the heavenly concubine, who had entered the clear sky pagoda, into the chaotic streams of space. You want to leave? Xiancheng and the prostitute also led their people into the chaotic streams of space. They blocked Night Sorrow's path to the spatial tunnel. They knew Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were exhausted. They could still fight. However, Night Sorrow did not fly toward the spatial tunnel. Instead, he flew in another direction at an extremely fast speed. You want to chase? Their attainments in the spatial attribute are definitely not as good as yours. There is no way to chase. Where are you flying to? The heavenly concubine did not understand. Weapon. My weapon. It's here. Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine was stunned. She remembered that Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd destroyed one of Xianhua's snowy figures and flew away. At that time, in order to kill in one blow, I used too much strength. The Samsara halberd probably flew very far away. I'll just follow my senses. Night Sorrow smiled. Aren't you afraid that they will know that we are not in the celestial realm and attack? The heavenly concubine asked. So what if they go in? They will die if they go in, Night Sorrow said. He was really happy because he had killed the enemy's leader. You're right. They don't have the courage now. The heavenly concubine nodded. After flying for a distance, Night Sorrow left the chaotic streams of space and entered the ancient world. He followed his soul senses. When he found the Samsara halberd, Night Sorrow smiled. An Imperial Monarch-level ancient cultivator was thinking of ways to pull out his Samsara halberd from the ground. When he saw Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrive and could not see their cultivation, the ancient cultivator ran away. Chapter 2290. I remember. It's still vivid in my mind. Back then, I had a feeling that if I couldn't take care of you, it would be difficult in the future. That's the truth, said the heavenly concubine. I'm good at tormenting myself, but I've been tormenting myself all these years. I haven't fallen yet. Night Sorrow smiled and put the Samsara halberd on his back. After putting away the weapon, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine entered the clear sky pagoda to recover. They came out after recovering to their peak state and flew toward the spatial tunnel. They weren't afraid of a hard battle now. Xiancheng and the brothel couldn't stop them. Xiancheng and the brothel took their people and retreated a distance. Then they gathered the 7 cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors to discuss the situation. Second Realm Lord, we can't defend against their poison now. The poison is too overbearing, said Qingjia. They're not as strong as us. It's just that we can't defend against the poison smoke. The 2 attacks were also because of the poison. Xiancheng nodded. He was clear that they were fighting against the peak power of the celestial realm. Under such circumstances, the celestial realm would use their peak power. Then what do we do if we can't defend against the poison smoke? Asked the brothel with a frown. Poison has a flaw. It doesn't differentiate between friend and foe. Let's recover first and then kill our way in. After that, we'll fight among their people. Can they poison us? If they can't, then it's our chance, said Xiancheng. The brothel and the others didn't say anything because Xiancheng's words made sense. Tell everyone that this isn't just an opportunity for us high-level cultivators. It's an opportunity for them too. As long as we break through the seal, everyone will get resources. Xiancheng told the higher-ups of the ancient profound ice realm again. He was worried that his people wouldn't be stable and wanted to reassure them. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine arrived at the spatial tunnel. They didn't see the brothel and the others. Night Sorrow's clone appeared and entered the spatial turbulence to continue being their eyes. However, his protective treasure was switched. The clone carried the 8-dragon cauldron. Because the 8-dragon cauldron's ability to suppress spatial turbulence was stronger and the clear sky pagoda's ability to assist cultivation was stronger, his main body was more suitable. Then Night Sorrow's main body and heavenly concubine passed through the spatial tunnel. You're back safely. You're not hurt, are you? Lin Piaomiao heaved a sigh of relief upon seeing Night Sorrow's return. She, King Yawu and the others were worried. It's fine. We just need to take care of it. This can be considered a great victory. Not only did we destroy a portion of their forces, but we also killed one of their peak experts. If they come again we can fight them in groups, Night Sorrow said. That's right. They only have 2 divine soul uniting realm cultivators. They are at a disadvantage compared to us, King Yawu said. At present, on the heaven realm's side, King Yawu and the heavenly concubine were divine soul synchrony realm cultivators. The great elder was slightly weaker but he could still restrain them. On Yi Shang's side, both his original body and doppelganger could restrain them. If they were to fight against the tribulation of the 9 emperors, given enough time, Yi Shang could kill them. Now let's see what they choose to do. Everyone take a rest. My clone will be watching the spatial tunnel. If anything happens we'll know. After that, Night Sorrow entered the clear sky pagoda to recover. When Xianhua's soul was killed, Night Sorrow's clone was blocking Xiancheng. He wasn't hurt, but his main body had been hurt by the attacks of the brothel's people. There was a xenogenic air in his body that needed to be taken care of, but it wasn't serious. While Night Sorrow was recovering he was practicing. His level was close to the tribulation of 7 emperors. If he stabilized it he could pass the tribulation. King Yawu took out a few jars of wine. He called the Grand Elder, heavenly concubine Lin Piaomiao, and the leader of the mythical beasts to sit together. This battle is the beginning of a big change, King Yawu said happily. It's a reversal of power. It's worth celebrating. Let's have a drink. Both sides started to reorganize. Xiancheng and the brothel's people were reorganizing. The races of the celestial realm didn't plan on fighting yet. Half a month later, Night Sorrow's main body came out of seclusion. They haven't attacked yet, Night Sorrow said. They must be scared of the poisonous smoke. I didn't want to use poison but there was nothing I could do about it. Punishing one evil is like punishing 10 good. You killed a lot of ancient cultivators, but do you know how many people you saved in the celestial realm? So, don't think too much about it, King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. He was worried that Night Sorrow would feel pressured. Uncle, don't worry. Although I'm a little uncomfortable with some things, I can figure it out. Night Sorrow nodded. Are you planning to go through the tribulation again? Clan Elder Duan asked Night Sorrow. Everyone saw Night Sorrow's state. There's no hurry. I plan to relax a little more before going, Night Sorrow said. He felt that his state was too tense and needed to relax a little. While they were talking, the protectors of the divine capital came to report that they had caught a few spies at the blockade line. Their souls were all controlled. There were cultivators of the Demon Wing clan in their space treasures. One of them was killed and the other escaped. We must pay attention to the defense of the blockade line and guard it well. As long as they don't know the situation of the battle, they won't dare to attack, King Yawu said to the person who came. I didn't think of these things. Uncle, you're very considerate, Night Sorrow said. You've already arranged it well. It's already very rare that no one is injured. I can't do that. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and shook his head. Then Lin Piaomiao told Night Sorrow that the first group of people from the celestial realm to go to the Nine Regions world had been arranged. Harmony. Tell the people in the Nine Regions world to arrange things properly. It must be harmonious. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and said. His Nine Regions clone was cultivating the Thousand Worlds defense body in seclusion. He really didn't know about the arrangements. Don't worry, it's already arranged. The division of the regions is also in progress. Later I'll give you the map of the regions. Lin Piaomiao nodded. Issue a martial prohibition order. For a period of time in the Nine Regions world, all cities are prohibited from fighting. All forces are not allowed to fight or fight. Issue a ban order. Before the ban is lifted, all races and forces that enter the Heaven Realm are not allowed to go out to explore and plunder resources until the ban is lifted. Yi Chang gave 2 orders in a row. These 2 orders are good. It's stable. This way it can be stable, King Tianxing said. The Nine Regions world hasn't reached the level of a supreme world yet. It's indeed not suitable to explore and plunder resources. That's destroying one's foundation. It's better to be strict. King Yawu nodded. He supported Night Sorrow's decision. Uncle, thank you for your understanding. Now I just want stability. I just want the Nine Regions world to develop better. The external enemies are already very strong. We must be harmonious internally, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2291. I am the Realm Lord of the Nine Regions world, and I am responsible for the billions of lives in the Nine Regions world. I am the human sovereign of the 100 races in the celestial realm, and I cannot ignore the development of the 100 races in the celestial realm. I need to find a balance. When the Nine Regions world enters the supreme world, other than the spirit stone mines that are not allowed, other adventures and opportunities will be allowed, Night Sorrow said. Young City Lord, don't feel pressured. We all know what kind of person you are. Tomorrow, when you kill the member of the White Tiger race, I won't even ask because he deserved it. Some things don't need to be explained, and you don't need to explain to anyone, Lin Yuanjun said. Night Sorrow nodded. As long as we get through this, the future will be good because we have the World Tree, Night Sorrow said with a smile. In order to prevent the celestial realm from being destroyed, the World Tree was left in the celestial realm. Actually, it is most suitable for it to be placed in the Nine Regions world, Elder Duan said. Night Sorrow thought about it and didn't mention the sapling of the World Tree, because it wasn't necessary. It wasn't that he didn't trust anyone, but the sapling hadn't matured yet, and it wouldn't be of much use. What I am looking forward to the most is how strong the young city lord will be after he passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Huang Ling looked at Night Sorrow and said. That's right. Right now, a single body can restrain a divine soul unity realm cultivator. After he passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors, he will no longer be a restraint, and he won't be at a disadvantage in battle. In the future, the human race will still be the ruler of the 100 races. In terms of talent and early stages of cultivation, the mythological beasts have the greatest advantage, but the humans are still the best cultivators. It's not without reason that they're the leader of the 100 races. Only the humans can maintain the stability of the 100 races, the Golden Dragon King said. Even if one of our races is stronger than the human race, we can't seize the right to rule because when disaster comes, the human race will step forward bravely. They won't fear death and sacrifice, Bloodlin King said. How should I put it? Human cultivators and rulers pay more attention to moral cultivation. Their thoughts and decisions are more objective and comprehensive. They don't want to enslave or suppress anyone, said King Yawu. He was very happy that the patriarchs of the divine beasts had such an awareness. Lin Yuanjun looked at the Golden Dragon King and said, "Yes, Golden Dragon King, you don't want to hear this. During those years the white dragons suffered great losses. Otherwise they would have attacked the black dragons a long time ago. I didn't think about what happened in between. In fact, under the tolerance of Tranhung King Yawu and the Grand Elder, the black dragons did come over. You're not the only one who is disappointed. Fortunately the result is good." The Golden Dragon King nodded. "Young City Lord, you have a few sons. If you don't have a wife, you should pay more attention to our Ice Phoenix race. We have beauties." Huang Ling changed the topic and said with a smile. Sure, but I don't care about the children's relationships. By the way, the rules of your Ice Phoenix race may not be suitable. After marriage, the man has to do this and that," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "We have changed the rules of our race, especially the marriage rule. We have learned from the human race's civilization. Marriage is free." Huang Ling told him about the changes of the Ice Phoenix race. That race is different. Those who don't choose to cultivate in the human body are still not allowed. Elder Duan thought for a while and said, "This problem has been solved. We asked for the Peng technique from the young city lord. After learning from it, we have developed the same technique, the turning technique. Everyone knows the effect. I have to say, the technique that Qing Peng developed for the sake of marrying a wife is really heaven-defying." Huang Ling took out a technique book and put it away. She asked for the Peng technique from Tianyu. Of course she said some good things. Tianyu gave it to her because of Wu Lingfei. "Say it. What price?" The Blood Kirin King looked at Huang Ling and asked. "Yes, what price do you want?" Lin Yuanjun nodded. The Ice Phoenix race wanted to change and truly integrate into the human race. They also planned to take this step. In this case, the technique was very important. After the divine beast race transformed, there were not many who chose to cultivate in the human body. Most of them kept their beast form. This was not allowed to integrate with the human race. "There is no price. Come and make a copy later. In the future, think of others more generously," Huang Ling said. "Thank you." The White Tiger King and the Blood Kirin King cupped their hands to Huang Ling. "Golden Dragon King, you don't want it?" Huang Ling looked at the Golden Dragon King and asked. "I want it. Let's see how it is different from the Golden Dragon King's Dragon Man technique." The Golden Dragon King said with a smile. "No wonder you are not in a hurry. I thought you did not consider the other dragons." Huang Ling understood. The dragons already had a way. After staying at the spatial passage for 3 days, they completely relaxed. Night Sorrow told everyone that he was going to go through the tribulation. He needed someone to monitor the situation here. "You go. Uncle Master will go outside to investigate the situation. He will not accompany you. Be careful." King Yawu said to Night Sorrow. "You don't have to accompany me. I will send a clone to follow. If anyone causes trouble, I will not be polite." Night Sorrow was not very confident about the spatial passage. He did not plan to let anyone guard it for him. "Okay, then we will wait to celebrate for you." Sect Elder Duan nodded. Lin Piaomiao went forward to help Night Sorrow tidy up his robe. "I will not follow you. Go to the illusion array and call Aluo and the child." "Okay, don't worry. This is actually my second tribulation of the 7 emperors. There is no danger." Night Sorrow hugged Lin Piaomiao and left. "I am envious. Huang Ling, we have missed out on too much." Heavenly Astral King sighed. He and Huang Ling had a good relationship. But in the past years, because of the clan rules, they spent less time together. "I won't in the future. As long as the Celestial Realm can survive this tribulation, I will no longer care about the Ice Phoenix clan. I will accompany you to travel." Huang Ling looked at her husband and said, "Okay, I look forward to the changes after the young city lord passes the tribulation of the 7 emperors. But will there be any drawbacks if you advance too quickly?" Heavenly Astral King changed the topic. After all, there were other people around. They could talk about it at other times. "Probably not. Every time he advances, he will go through a great battle. Moreover, he will not hold back. This is the consolidation and summary of the past. There is no flaw in his understanding of the Tao. Besides, he has come into contact with the forbidden energy too early. He must improve with all his strength. The current situation is also giving him pressure. The peak battle power of the celestial realm is still too weak." King Yawu shook his head. Chapter 2292. The Heavenly Astral King stood up and accepted the task. The Black Tortoise race and the Green Rock race were here. The Celestial Realm's combat power could be increased, but it was only for group battles. In the pinnacle battle, these people would be useless. In front of the Divine Soul Unity Realm and the Tribulation of 9 Emperors, they would be trampled. Knight Sorrow left the spatial passage and found a deserted place to start his tribulation. He was well prepared, but the lightning tribulation wasn't as violent as the last time. It was 20% less powerful, so he didn't need to use any resources to survive the tribulation of 7 emperors. Of course, the lightning tribulation's power was small for Knight Sorrow, but if it was someone else, the consequences would be severe. They might even die. After successfully passing the tribulation, Knight Sorrow's original body collected the energy of the lightning tribulation and entered the clear sky pagoda to cultivate. His clone returned to the spatial passage. Tribulation of 7 emperors, the realm is tribulation of 7 emperors. Success. Knight Sorrow returned. Although it was just a clone, Blood Lin King and the others could see Knight Sorrow's true energy cultivation realm. Sorry for making everyone worried. Knight Sorrow nodded to Blood Lin King. How was it? Heavenly Concubine asked. It was a little less powerful than the previous tribulation. It went smoothly. My main body stabilized its cultivation base. My clone returned first, said Yishang. Let's have a feast. Golden Dragon King said happily. He knew Knight Sorrow early and watched Knight Sorrow grow step by step. He was especially happy for Knight Sorrow. After drinking 2 cups of wine, Knight Sorrow entered the spatial passage and replaced King Yawu. Then he felt the changes of his true energy in the void turbulence and studied the power of his battle skills. Jianghu version UU head / O'Hare at the spatial passage. King Yawu and the others were chatting. I can't look at him as a junior anymore. Tribulation of 7 emperors. I didn't expect him to reach this realm in such a short time. Golden Dragon King sighed. Success is not a coincidence. He has put in a lot of effort that ordinary people can't. The Heavenly Concubine said. Others might not know, but after knowing Knight Sorrow, she saw how hard he worked. Now that he has successfully ascended, I feel much more at ease. Even if the celestial realm falls during this critical period, it doesn't matter because we can fight our way back. When he reaches the tribulation of the 8 emperors and the tribulation of the 9 emperors, who can stop him? Go back to where you came from. If you don't leave, you'll be killed. King Yawu sighed. Everyone agreed with King Yawu's words. This was the deterrence of a top-tier expert. Having an expert that no one could contend against could decide the outcome of the war. After all, no one would be able to resist such an expert. For example, if the cultivators of the ancient profound ice realm entered the celestial realm, as long as the 100 Races Alliance of the celestial realm had a super expert, they could eliminate the higher-ups of the ancient profound ice realm. Actually, what we need to do now is to defend and stabilize the situation. We need to buy time for Knight Sorrow to rise. When he can kill, the cultivators of the ancient world and the Demon Wing clan won't dare to attack, Elder Duan said. Heavenly Concubine, there are some things that you shouldn't mind. This is how it is. We must defend the celestial realm. When the Demon Wing clan was mentioned, Huang Ling was worried that the Heavenly Concubine would feel awkward, so she explained. I understand. Now that I am the protector of the 9 Domains world, no force can invade the 9 Domains world. As for the war between the 100 races and other forces in the celestial realm, I will intervene when it is convenient. However, I can't fight against the Demon Wing clan. I have communicated with Knight Sorrow about this. The Heavenly Concubine explained her point of view. I understand. We are already very grateful for the way things are. If you have any difficulties, please tell us. As long as we can help you, we won't be stingy. King Yawu expressed his attitude. Everyone knew that if the Heavenly Concubine hadn't assisted Knight Sorrow in the war with the ancient world, the situation would have been very difficult to control. They wouldn't have been able to kill and suppress the leaders. The Heavenly Concubine cupped her hands at King Yawu. She understood that the cultivators of the 100 races of the celestial realm would fight to the death against their enemies. However, they would treat their friends with affection and loyalty. Xian Cheng and the brothel organized their subordinates and explained the future situation to them. In order to let his subordinates fight with all their strength, Xian Cheng used the benefits of breaking the celestial realm's defense as an excuse to instill the thought of not giving up in his subordinates. After a month, Xian Cheng restored the morale and fighting spirit of his subordinates. He and the brothel were ready to attack. They didn't want to wait and see anymore. They couldn't block the space passage. If the celestial realm threw out the 2 poison bottles, it would be fatal. The brothel was very supportive of Xiancheng's tactics. Xiancheng officially took over as the leader of the ancient ice world. Knight Sorrow's original body cultivated in the Haotian Pagoda for 2 years. After stabilizing his realm, he began to cultivate the Wuxia physical conditioning art. He now had a fixed cultivation method. Naturally, increasing one's realm was very slow. However, using strength to prove one's path was much faster. With the help of the Wuxia physical conditioning art, Knight Sorrow had no difficulty in improving his body's cultivation. What troubled Knight Sorrow was the consumption of resources. The Wuxia physical conditioning art consumed resources at a terrifying speed. According to the current strength of Knight Sorrow's body, the amount of resources needed to regenerate a severed limb was huge. The essence blood of the Divine Soul Unity Realm Black Horn Dragon had been used up. Currently, he was using Supreme Grade Saint Spirit Stones to cultivate. After the research of the 9 Domains Doppelganger and the Battle Doppelganger, Knight Sorrow's Thousand Realms defensive body's 4th realm had been formed. On this day, while Knight Sorrow's Battle Doppelganger was cultivating the Primordial Shattering Slash, he noticed Xiancheng and the brothel leading a large group of people. His original body immediately came out of the Haotian Pagoda and quickly returned to the space passage. Prepare for battle. The other party is coming aggressively. It doesn't seem like they want to confront us. They want to attack us. They have a lot of cultivators from the tribulation of 9 emperors. We can't fight them head-on. If they dare to enter the array, we'll split up and kill them. Knight Sorrow arrived at the space passage and gave the order to fight. He felt that something was amiss because the speed of the people brought by Xiancheng and the brothel wasn't right. They weren't moving slowly. They were flying at high speed. They didn't have any intention of stopping. Cultivators under the tribulation of 7 emperors, wait for orders at the space passage. Everyone else enter. We have to break their defense and seal in one go. Xiancheng gave the order while flying with his people. Return to the array. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger read Xiancheng's mouth and knew Xiancheng's order. His original body in the celestial realm gave the order while he stood in front of the array with the reincarnation heavenly halberd. Xiancheng and the brothel led the people above the tribulation of 7 emperors into the space passage. You're here. Knight Sorrow greeted Xiancheng, who came out of the space passage and arrived in the celestial realm. Not bad. Show me what you've got. Xiancheng looked at Knight Sorrow and used his soul power to scan the surroundings. Chapter 2293. You still dare to mention this? Go to hell. Xiancheng was enraged when he heard Xianhua's name. He waved his saber and charged towards Knight Sorrow. Since that's the case, don't blame anyone when you die. Knight Sorrow moved. He used Afterimage Body and Void Step to avoid Xiancheng and brothel. His Samsara halberd went straight for a 7th Emperor Tribulation cultivator. The surrounding energy is strange. Don't rush in recklessly. Kill him first. Brothel was still relatively calm. His soul power was restricted by the Peerless formation. He felt that something was wrong, so he decided to deal with Knight Sorrow first. As they clashed, the ancient cultivator with the Tribulation 7 Emperor's cultivation base was blasted into the unparalleled Great Array by Knight Sorrow. At this time, Blood Lin King and the others who were waiting in the formation made their move. They used a joint attack formation and began to surround and kill the cultivators who entered the formation. On Knight Sorrow's side, the Samsara halberd was unstoppable. He ignored Xiancheng and brothel and focused on the 7th Emperor Tribulation and 8th Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Not to mention that they would be injured by Knight Sorrow's all-out attack. Once they entered the formation, they would be trapped. The formation's energy lingered, and these ancient cultivators could not escape. At this time, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger did not look at the situation. The crucial moment had arrived, and it was meaningless to wait. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger tore through space and returned to the real world. He entered the space tunnel and returned to the celestial realm. He directly started to kill the cultivators who entered the celestial realm. King Yawu and Heavenly Concubine also made their move. Just like Knight Sorrow, they did not aim to kill or injure. They just wanted to bombard the cultivators of the ancient profound ice realm into the Peerless formation. Joint attack. Xiancheng saw that something was wrong. He formed a defensive ring with brothel and the other cultivators. Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, retreat first. Yishang shouted and then entered the formation. He wanted to kill the ancient cultivators who had entered the formation first. There were already many ancient cultivators trapped in the formation. There were 2 Ninth Emperor Tribulation cultivators and even more 8th Emperor Tribulation and 7th Emperor Tribulation cultivators. There was no one else. Xianqing and the prostitute were a little dumbfounded. Their opponents were gone and a portion of their cultivators were missing. The tribulation of the 9 emperors had lost 2 cultivators, and the tribulation of the 8 emperors and 7 emperors had lost 1/3 of their cultivators. All around them was a vast expanse of white fog. There was no sound and they couldn't detect anything. It was very quiet. However, this silence caused Xianqing and the others to feel their hair stand on end. This was because this vast expanse of white energy could eat people. Ancient cultivators who entered this vast expanse of white energy could no longer make a sound. Actually, it wasn't that there was no sound, but that it was isolated by the array's energy. They were still fighting inside the formation. Although they had the help of the formation, high-level tribulation emperors were difficult to kill. They had strong survivability. After 2 hours, Night Sorrow and the others finally finished their battle. However, everyone had expended quite a bit of energy. Xianqing looked at the darkened soul crystal in his hand. His expression was very ugly because that was the soul crystal of his closest subordinate. Retreat. Xianqing knew that he could not enter the array now because the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors had been killed. It would be dangerous for him and his prostitute to enter. Leave one more behind. Night Sorrow's original body and his clone appeared. After activating the Thousand Realms defense body, they ignored Xianqing and his prostitute's attacks and directly attacked a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Night Sorrow forcefully withstood 3 energy sabers and blasted a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors into the array. Night Sorrow felt that it was worth it to kill a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors with injuries that could be recovered. He had expended a lot of energy and was not confident. Otherwise, he would have chosen to attack Xianqing and his prostitute. Seeing that his subordinates and Night Sorrow had disappeared, Xianqing shouted coldly, "Retreat!" Xianqing knew that he had to retreat. More than half of his strength had been exhausted. If he stayed, there would be more trouble. Night Sorrow retreated into the array and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to recover. King Wu and the Heavenly Concubine joined forces and killed the last cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. Then, everyone entered their spatial treasures to recover. After half a day, everyone had recovered. Then they went to a space near the spatial tunnel that was not covered by the array. Night Sorrow, we have injured them severely. Now that we can fight, it's worth it to deal with them with some injuries, said King Wu. Martial Uncle, wait here. I'll go in to investigate, said Night Sorrow as he entered the spatial tunnel. Kill? As soon as Night Sorrow came out of the spatial tunnel, he was attacked by Xianqing from behind. The prostitute in front of him was attacking him from the front. Night Sorrow had been ambushed. He had always been the one ambushing others. He did not expect to be ambushed. Xianqing and the prostitute were hidden underground in the spatial treasure. Night Sorrow did not notice them. Thousand Realms defense body. In a hurry, Night Sorrow could only defend with all his might while his true body rushed over to help. His doppelganger could not retreat because Xianqing was behind him. Seeing Night Sorrow's main body rush into the spatial tunnel, King Wu and the Heavenly Concubine looked at each other and also rushed into the spatial tunnel. They knew something was wrong. Night Sorrow's main body fought fiercely with Xianqing, and the tunnel was opened. The Heavenly Concubine and King Wu came out and started attacking the prostitute. They were angry because Night Sorrow's clone's energy was unstable. It was obvious that he had been attacked. First 0H*, surround and kill, shouted Xianqing. Retreat. After Night Sorrow's clone shot out a spear, he began to retreat. His clone had been hit in the back. The energy was torturing his body. He only had 60% of his combat power. King Wu and the Heavenly Concubine did not continue fighting. They covered Night Sorrow's retreat and then retreated to the Celestial Realm. How are you? Asked the Heavenly Concubine as she looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's clone entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to recuperate. His main body shook his head at the Heavenly Concubine. I got hit. I was ambushed when I went out and got hit twice. I need some time to recover. Young City Lord, let's kill our way out and fight. The White Tiger King was a little angry because Night Sorrow was injured. No, we have to avoid unnecessary injuries. We have to defend first. We need to stabilize the Celestial Realm. It doesn't matter how many ancient cultivators we kill. Night Sorrow shook his head. He knew that if they fought head-on now they could win, but they would have to pay a price. Night Sorrow, this is you. If it was someone else, let's take Martial Uncle as an example. Without the connection between his main body and his clone, he would be in danger of dying after being ambushed. King Wu exhaled and said. This move of Xiancheng and the prostitute was quite ruthless. They had expected that after they retreated, the celestial realm would definitely go over to investigate. If it was a divine soul unity realm expert without a clone, after being heavily injured and without a clone to report, it would be easy for him to die. At the very least, he would be severely injured. Chapter 2294. This time, Night Sorrow was moving forward with energy vibrations. If there was anything strange, he would notice it. Even if there was a spatial treasure that could shrink it, it couldn't stop him from checking. After exiting the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow didn't notice anything. Then Night Sorrow returned to the spatial tunnel. No one. They probably retreated. Even if we attack again, they would need some time to prepare. How's your clone? King Wu asked. He knew that Night Sorrow's injuries weren't light. I've always been the one to sneak up on others. This time, I didn't expect Xiancheng and the others to ambush me. I was hit and slashed twice. I can recover, but it will take a long time, Night Sorrow said. You must be careful next time. Some mistakes can't be made. The first time can be fatal, King Wu said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that it was because his body was strong and his defense was strong. Otherwise, his body would have been destroyed by the sneak attack of 2 Divine Soul Unison Realm cultivators. Luckily, it was the young city lord who went. If it was someone else, they would have died easily. These bastards still know how to do this, the Golden Dragon King scolded. Then Night Sorrow's clone went to recover while his original body went out to check. However, he didn't find anyone from the ancient profound ice world. At this moment, Xiancheng and the brothel led people to retreat towards the ancient profound ice world. Of course, they didn't give up. They had to reorganize before attacking. Brothel, that's the supreme world without a doubt. The strength of the cultivators there is similar to our ancient profound ice world. When they were fighting with us, they only had 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm experts and 1 cultivator who was close to the Divine Soul Unity Realm. They didn't even have any tribulation of the 9 emperors. They relied on the heterodox array formations and poisons to obstruct our attacks. Have you sent anyone out? Xiancheng asked the brothel. I've sent someone to contact the underworld castle. However, it will take some time for the news to come back. The brothel nodded. Okay, we must take down that world. However, we can't eat it ourselves, so we can only let the people of Dark Realm Castle have a share. Xiancheng was very unhappy. He didn't want other ancient cultivators to know about this. Not finding any ancient cultivators, Night Sorrow communicated with King Wu and the others for a while, and then released the spies of the Heaven Wasteland Army who had clones to continue monitoring the 100 districts. That Night Sorrow was drinking tea. King Wu and the others came over. With the ancient cultivators gone, everyone felt more relaxed. Night Sorrow, it's rare that your original body isn't cultivating. Huang Ling asked after sitting down. Yes. Night Sorrow smiled. Did something happen to you? Heavenly Concubine asked. Oh, my cultivation resources can't keep up. Night Sorrow ruffled his hair. You're so rich that you can even set up an unparalleled formation. How can you say you don't have resources? Huang Ling curled her lips. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow had abundant resources and spirit stones. It's not that I don't have resources. It's just that it's not suitable. It's a waste to use spirit stones. Night Sorrow pinched the bridge of his nose and explained his situation. You lack materials? Let's think of a way. What materials do you need? King Wu asked. It's nothing. Uncle, let's not talk about this. I'll take it slow. Night Sorrow shook his head. What did he need now? He needed materials to cultivate his body. He needed the blood essence of demonic beasts and divine beasts. He could use the blood of his enemies, but Night Sorrow wouldn't use the blood of his own people. I understand. You're using strength as your cultivation method. If you want to cultivate your body, you need materials to replenish your blood essence. That's why you're so insistent. The City Lord's mansion of the Divine Capital should have some in stock, King Wu said. High-level demonic beasts and divine beasts' blood essence? Night Sorrow, there are some things that you don't know. Master Tran Hung fought in the outer realm and killed a lot of demonic beasts and demonic beasts. The blood essence of ordinary demonic beasts can't be used because there are no suitable materials. However, there are some left. I'll send someone to get them. After hearing King Wu's words, the Grand Elder understood what Night Sorrow needed. The others also understood. Young City Lord, your increase in strength can affect the overall situation. Don't think too much at this time. The problem of resources must be solved if possible. If you can't solve it, think of a way to solve it. Our divine beast should have some blood essence left, King Bloodlin said. No. I don't want it. I can't climb on the backs of my predecessors. I appreciate your kindness. Knight Sorrow shook his head and refused. There were some things that he wouldn't do. Looking at Yi Shang, Bloodlin King and the others didn't say anything. Yi Shang had made it very clear. It was meaningless for them to say anything. Yi Shang had his reasons for being so insistent. Half a day later, the city lord's mansion of the divine capital sent the blood essence of a three-headed dragon and a black dragon. Knight Sorrow took out 100 monarch spirit stones to exchange for it. With the resources, Knight Sorrow didn't go into seclusion. His clone was still recovering. He felt that it wasn't appropriate for him and his clone to not be here. Go and cultivate. If there's a situation, I'll activate your spatial treasure. It won't be too late for you to come out. Also, our 100 domains defense is not fake. If ancient cultivators appear in large numbers, I'll know in advance, Heavenly Concubine said. She knew what Knight Sorrow was thinking. After thinking about it, Knight Sorrow felt that Heavenly Concubine's words made sense. He couldn't slow down his improvement because the 100 races of the celestial realm needed high-end combat power. After greeting King Yo-Wu, Sect Elder Duan, and the others, Knight Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda and began cultivating. The situation stabilized again. Green Rock Race and Black Tortoise Race had arrived. Green Rock Old Ancestor and Black Tortoise Patriarch began cultivating a joint attack array. They were also high-end combat power of the 100 races of the celestial realm. Knight Sorrow disappeared in front of everyone. Knight Sorrow, who was cultivating, didn't have any concept of time. Knight Sorrow's clone took half a year to recover to its peak state. However, he didn't come out of seclusion. He continued to study the Thousand Realms defense body in the time acceleration. Sect Elder Lin, your man is too crazy. His spatial treasure can accelerate time by 60 times. He's been in there for almost a year. That means he's been cultivating for 60 years. Doesn't he love you enough? Huang Ling and Lin Piaomiao chatted. Percent update, new 2 square root most. Quick, H, it's because he loves you enough that he's working hard. He wants to give our family a stable life. In the current situation, tyrannical combat power is the only guarantee of stability, Lin Piaomiao said. I seem to understand a little. Huang Ling nodded. 3.5 years after Knight Sorrow's seclusion, which was also the 4th year of the confrontation with the ancient world, he came out of seclusion. 3.5 years in the real world meant that Knight Sorrow had cultivated for 200 years. When he came out of seclusion, his body had reached the peak of the tribulation of the 7 emperors. In addition, his Thousand Realms defense body had reached the 5th realm. Feeling that he hadn't improved recently, Knight Sorrow came out of seclusion. After coming out of seclusion, Knight Sorrow knew that the cultivators of the ancient world group were gathering at the spatial passageway again. This meant that the crisis of war was coming again. Chapter 2295. It's good enough for us to stabilize for 3 years. I wonder if this group of people is related to those from the ancient profound ice world. If they are, it'll be fine. If not, it'll be a big problem. We'll have to face 2 waves of enemies, King Yo-Wu said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Everyone knew that the people from the ancient profound ice world would not give up. They had to retreat for now. After reorganizing and gathering some people, Xian Cheng and the others would come again. But it's okay. After the last battle, it proved that the unparalleled Great Formation's power is not a problem. It can trap the 9 Emperors' tribulation. As for the Divine Soul Uniting Realm, they won't be able to break out in a short time, Elder Duan said. If a large number of high-level cultivators charge in, the pressure on the formation will increase. In other words, once they enter the formation, we have to kill them as soon as possible. Don't let them consume too much of the formation's energy, Yishan said. The others nodded. Everyone knew that the unparalleled Great Formation was strong, but it had a certain endurance. It wasn't invincible. The Golden Dragon King shook his head and said, Young City Lord, the rate at which your body is progressing is truly incredible. How did you manage to cultivate to this extent? How do you embarrass our mythological beast race? I've been cultivating my body since I started cultivating. My foundation is pretty good, so it's easier for me to cultivate now. But I can't afford to consume resources. The 3-headed dragon's blood essence that the City Lord Mansion sent me last time has been used up. Only the black dragon's blood essence is left, Night Sorrow said with a smile. An entire three-headed dragon's blood essence was enough to increase one's body's cultivation by 1 level. This was Night Sorrow's current situation. If it's not enough, you can tell us that you have the space to surpass the Divine Soul Uniting Realm. But we can't. So your cultivation can't be delayed. King Yo-Wu handed over a storage ring to Night Sorrow. Inside it was the blood essence of the demonic beast that he sent someone to get from the City Lord Mansion. Thank you, Uncle Master. However, I have reached a bottleneck and cannot go into seclusion for the time being. Let's see what the situation is with this group of cultivators. After this crisis is resolved, I will go and transcend the lightning tribulation. Night Sorrow did not stand on ceremony with King Yo-Wu. He took the storage ring King Yo-Wu handed over. As the scouts continued to report back, Night Sorrow and the others knew that the other party was getting closer and closer to the spatial passageway. They had come prepared. Night Sorrow ordered his spies to retreat and prepare for battle. He then had his avatar pass through the spatial passage and enter the chaotic streams of space as a scout. If they were from the ancient profound ice world, he would avoid them. If they were not from the ancient profound ice world, he would stay in the space tunnel as an observer like last time. As a matter of fact, this time, it was the people from the ancient ice world. To be exact, less than half of them were from the ancient ice world. There were also new ancient cultivators who all wore black robes. Sector Lord Xiancheng, are you saying that the other party's defensive formation is very powerful? A man in a black robe with golden edges communicated with Xiancheng. Yes. The cultivators under my command from the tribulation of the 9 emperors were trapped in the formation and did not come out, Xiancheng said. Go Nan, when we arrive we will take the formation. You go and see what kind of formation it is, the man in the black robe with golden edges said to a man with a pointy mouth and ape-like chin behind him. The man in the black robe with golden edges was very famous in the ancient world group. He was the castle lord of Dark World Castle. Outside he was known as the Black Armored King. He was the leader of the demonic beasts, Black Armored Tiger. He had created Dark World Castle, which was a top force. Because he knew that Dark World Castle was very powerful, Xianqing first considered Dark World Castle when he thought about forming an alliance. This way he did not need to find other ancient cultivators and would not let them participate. Go Nan was the formation master of Dark World Castle. He had high attainments in formations. The defensive formation of Dark World Castle was set up by him. This was also one of the reasons why Xianqing first chose Dark World Castle to form an alliance. Dark World Castle had ancient cultivators who were proficient in formations. The arrival of the people from Dark World Castle and Ancient Ice World made Night Sorrow realize the seriousness of the situation. His doppelganger tore open the space barrier and returned to the space tunnel. He knew that Xianqing and the others would definitely tear open the space to investigate when they arrived. After entering the space tunnel, Night Sorrow went to an area where he could detect the outside but was not easy to detect from the outside. He took out the 8-dragon cauldron and smashed it into the ground. His body entered and began to investigate. He had to know the other party's movements. It was impossible to hide in the void turbulence, so this was the best position. Unless the other party was messing around, it would be impossible to find him. Night Sorrow's original body brought King Yo-Wu and the others to the core area of the unparalleled formation. The energy here was very stable. It was a living space with a command tent. The other party is here. It's an alliance of people. Xianqing and Xiaoxi brought people from another force. I don't know what kind of force it is. I will confirm it after listening to their conversation. This force is very strong. It is the same as the original ancient ice world. They have 3 divine soul unity realm cultivators. Night Sorrow introduced the preliminary situation to King Yo-Wu and the others. Then the other party has 5 divine soul unity realm opponents? Isn't this asking for our lives? Huang Ling said in astonishment. The last time the ancient ice world came, the 3 divine soul unity realm experts put a lot of pressure on the defense of the celestial realm. Now that the other party had so many experts, it wasn't only Huang Ling who was astonished. Everyone was shocked. Don't worry. I will first set up a sealing array for the unparalleled formation. Yishan moved as soon as he finished speaking. He added a sealing array formation to the peerless great array that prevented energy from entering and flowing through the spatial passageway. Night Sorrow, are you preparing to use poison? Heavenly Concubine, who followed beside Night Sorrow to protect Night Sorrow, asked. Yes. The other party is so strong. I have to think of some countermeasures. Night Sorrow nodded to Heavenly Concubine. After setting up the array, Night Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda's time acceleration layer and continued to refine the poisonous smoke. Xian Cheng and Black Armor King brought their people and stopped at a distance of 20,000 miles from the space tunnel. The people began to set up camp. This was Xian Cheng's idea. He said that Night Sorrow had thrown the poisonous smoke into the crowd. Therefore they had to leave a buffer zone. Whether the people of the celestial realm came out alone or in a group battle, they would have time to react. They could fight step by step. In one day, Night Sorrow's main body had refined 40 bottles of poisonous smoke. Including the ones he had left, he had 50 bottles in reserve. The poison pearl had also shrunk by a quarter. Night Sorrow gave Heavenly Concubine Wu King and Grand Elder 2 bottles each. He also told them that there was no antidote for the smoke. They could only avoid it and not face it head-on. Realm Lord Xianqing, you suffered a great loss last time. This time we have to be more careful. They already know that we are here. We will set up camp and see if they have any thoughts of attacking. It would be best if we don't let them use the array, Black Armor King said as he watched the people set up camp. Not attacking? Watching. Night Sorrow's doppelganger read Black Armor King's mouth and understood what he meant. Go through the calamity. /4 genuine A first N first N first. Chapter 2296. It's a bit urgent. Lord King Wu, are you not going to persuade him? Heavenly Astral King looked at King Wu and asked. He was worried that Night Sorrow would be in danger because of the pressure of the battle. King Wu shook his head. The 8th Emperor's Thunder Calamity is weaker than the 7th Emperor's Thunder Calamity. If Yi Shang can pass the 7th Emperor's Thunder Calamity, then the 8th Emperor's Thunder Calamity should be fine. King Wu said that he didn't persuade Night Sorrow because he felt that it was appropriate. After listening to King Wu's explanation, the others felt more at ease. Everyone was more worried about Night Sorrow's safety. The 8th Emperor Thunder Tribulation was indeed not a big threat. It was similar to the 7th Emperor Thunder Tribulation that Night Sorrow passed. It wasn't dangerous for Night Sorrow, so he passed it easily. After passing the Thunder Tribulation, Night Sorrow returned to the spatial passage and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to stabilize his realm. Seeing Night Sorrow return safely, Lin Piaomiao let out a sigh of relief. No matter what others said, she had always been worried about Night Sorrow's safety. Very good. Night Sorrow has no problem protecting himself. King Wu said. In the ancient camp, Xian Cheng and Black Armor King sat facing each other. This group of cowards. They only rely on arrays and poison to fight. Otherwise they are trash. Xian Cheng said. He was really angry now. When he wasn't strong, the cultivators of the celestial realm would really kill him. Now that the people he brought were strong, the cultivators of the celestial realm didn't come out. It doesn't matter. Let's wait and see how they are going to play. If they are still cowering, then we will break the array and fight our way in. However, that Divine Soul Unity Realm female cultivator that you mentioned, this king has reserved her. The Black Armor King had an arrogant and evil smile on his face. You will die. Night Sorrow's clone, who was observing the situation, had a murderous look on his face. Black Armor King was on his must-kill list. As a partner who had gone through life and death together, he wouldn't allow anyone to blaspheme and insult the Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow also hoped that the Ancient Cultivator Alliance would stabilize a little and give him some time to stabilize his realm. His main body had just broken through, so it would take at least 10 days to stabilize his cultivation. Hearing Black Armor King's words, Xian Cheng suppressed the anger in his heart. In the Alliance camp, most of the people were from Underworld Castle. If Black Armor King didn't move, Xian Cheng couldn't move even if he wanted to. King Wu and the others didn't know the news, but they knew that the situation was very serious. They arranged a retreat route. Some of the people from the celestial realm were moving. This was not only because the Ancient Cultivator Alliance was strong, but also because they were worried about the threat from the Devil Wing Clan and the Devil Ancestor of the Devil Wing Clan. King Wu and Tran Hung knew that the Heavenly Concubine's warning wasn't without reason. If they didn't make some backup plans and something really happened in the celestial realm, then it would be a disaster. Their retreat route was to some of the realms near the celestial realm. The realms controlled by Pu Luo and the Great Devil King had gathered some of the races in the celestial realm. 10 days. After another 10 days, the Ancient Cultivator Alliance still hadn't moved. This made Night Sorrow breathe a sigh of relief. In the time acceleration of the Clear Sky Pagoda, he had cultivated for 600 days. Close to 2 years he had completely stabilized his body. In addition, he had been cultivating in the space of the soul-nurturing grass. His soul power had condensed a lot. Although it wasn't as strong as the Blackhorn Dragon, it had far surpassed cultivators of the same level. After coming out of seclusion and stabilizing his realm, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. Your spirit is good. This is the aura I want. Sect Elder Duan sized up Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled and greeted Sect Elder Duan and the others. Then he nodded to Lin Piaomiao. He knew that Lin Piaomiao had been suffering during this period and had been worried about him. Look at the L chapter of the C version? Let's go. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao's eyes were a little moist. She was indeed worried. Okay. When I'm done, I'll stay at home and bring you guys around. Looking at Lin Piaomiao, Night Sorrow's eyes were full of apology. Everyone sat down and chatted. Night Sorrow told them about the Ancient Cultivator Alliance having an array master. Then when he comes in, kill him with all your might. King Yawu said. That guy is called Gonan. He has a sharp mouth and monkey cheeks. It's easy to recognize him. As long as he dares to step into the celestial realm, we don't care about anything else. We have to kill him first. The unparalleled array must not have any problems. Night Sorrow nodded. After drinking his tea, Night Sorrow thought for a while. He felt that there was no need to let the ancient cultivator stay so comfortably. He could go out and play for a while. He could throw a few bottles of smoke and see the reaction of the Ancient Cultivator Alliance. Night Sorrow's original body entered the spatial tunnel and gave a few bottles of smoke to his clone. The clone held the Blood Qilin evil-slaying spear and rushed towards the Ancient Cultivator Alliance. At this moment, Night Sorrow's clone was extremely fast. In a flash, he was hundreds of miles away. Alert! Black Armor King, the opponent has come out. Is the most dangerous guy. He can release poison. Let's stop him. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, Xian Qing shouted to the Black Armor King. Then he rushed towards Night Sorrow. He wanted to stop Night Sorrow. He knew what kind of situation Night Sorrow was in. If he got close, he would throw bottles of poisonous smoke. When Xian Qing came out to stop him, the brothel also moved. Like Xian Qing, the brothel knew how big of a threat Night Sorrow was. Back then, when she and Xian Qing joined forces, they still couldn't kill Night Sorrow's clone, who was only at the tribulation of the Seven Emperors' realm. Seeing Xian Qing and the brothel fight and hearing Xian Qing's words, the Black Armor King knew that the situation was a bit serious. So he also moved to stop them. At this moment, Night Sorrow's original body condensed the primordial energy and slowly pierced his spear forward. This spear light was restrained and melted an extremely small spatial hole in the void. Then he controlled the Haotian God Pagoda and entered the void turbulence. In the ancient world's spatial turbulence, he flew towards the ancient cultivator allied army's campsite. Night Sorrow's clone was in the light to stop them. His original body was in the dark so that he could display his true battle strategy. He was playing the battle strategy of deceiving everyone. 3 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators came to stop him. Night Sorrow's clone activated the Thousand Realms Defense Body, Void Steps, and Afterimage Body. He drew an arc and ran. He couldn't fight them head-on. When Night Sorrow's clone ran away, Xian Qing and the other 2 naturally chased after him. How could they let Night Sorrow escape like this? Their speed was equal. Although Xian Qing and the other 2 had a high cultivation level, their attainments in spatial laws weren't as strong as Night Sorrow's. Therefore their speed was about the same. With the clone restraining them, Night Sorrow's original body in the spatial turbulence approached the ancient cultivator allied army's campsite. With his left hand, Night Sorrow tore apart the space. With his right hand, he threw out the poisonous smoke bottle and used his energy to control it to explode in the allied army's campsite. Hey! This place is exploding! Night Sorrow shouted. With a swipe of his left hand, he smoothed out the spatial crack. Then he started running in the void turbulence. When they discovered that Night Sorrow's original body was messing around in the campsite, Xian Qing, the Black Armor King, and the brothel rushed towards the campsite. They noticed that the one who appeared in the campsite was Night Sorrow's original body. Chapter 2297. With the Thousand Realms Defense, Spacetime Realm, and Void Steps, Night Sorrow's original body's speed reached the extreme. Xian Qing, the prostitute, and Black Armor King couldn't catch up at all. At the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Night Sorrow's clone hid while his original body ran back to the celestial realm. Everyone retreat to the formation and prepare for battle. I made them angry, Night Sorrow shouted after returning to the celestial realm. Hearing Night Sorrow's shout, King Yewu and the others quickly retreated to the Peerless Great Formation and prepared for battle with their weapons in hand. However, Xian Qing, the prostitute, and Black Armor King chased to the entrance of the spatial tunnel and didn't enter because they weren't confident. "Damn it, let's go back and check the situation of the camp before attacking," Black Armor King roared angrily because he felt that he had been played for a fool. Night Sorrow's clone, who was hiding under the entrance of the spatial tunnel, sneered. He didn't expect Black Armor King and the others to be able to remain calm at this time. However, when he saw the ancient cultivators on the ground in the camp of the ancient cultivators, he knew that his plan had succeeded. He had disrupted the ancient cultivators' formation. "Those fellows chased me all the way to the entrance of the spatial passageway before retreating. I don't think their attack will be that fast. I need to rest a bit." Night Sorrow's true body led the group to the core area of the array formation before brewing a pot of tea. "Young City Lord, what did you do to make them angry?" Lin Yuanjun looked at Night Sorrow with some confusion. "I rushed to their camp and threw a few bottles of poisonous smoke. They tried to stop me and chase me, but they couldn't stop me or catch up. So they got angry and chased me to the entrance of the spatial tunnel but didn't enter," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "You brat, that was too risky." Elder Duan glared at Night Sorrow. "Ah, it's okay. I'll use my clone to restrain them while my original body rushed in." They were caught off guard. This time they suffered more losses. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was in a good mood. One charge had disrupted the deployment and plan of the ancient cultivators. The Black Armor King had said that they would attack after observing the situation. However, these words were just empty words. They still had to deal with the aftermath when they returned. Because the original campsite was filled with poisonous smoke, Xian Cheng and Black Armor King brought their men to a new campsite. After a quick count, the Black Armor King realized that he had lost close to a third of his men. He was so angry that he roared towards the sky. Then he shouted for the city to attack. "Let's stabilize ourselves first. He might be trying to anger us. We don't know what kind of tricks he has up his sleeves. We have to stabilize ourselves and break the formation first. Then we can break into their world in one fell swoop," Xianqing said. The Black Armor King threw a punch to the side. He was extremely angry now. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that Xianqing, Black Armor King, and the others didn't have the courage to attack directly. Detecting that the coalition army of the ancient cultivators did not move, Night Sorrow smiled. "This is a net profit. They didn't attack. Very good. However, you can't do this in the future. If there's anything, you can discuss it with everyone. We can also help you restrain them. It's too risky for you to act alone." King Yewu looked at Night Sorrow and said. He was really afraid that something would happen to Night Sorrow. This was because the ancient cultivator coalition army had 5 soul uniting realm cultivators. If they really surrounded and killed him, it would be dangerous. Disciple understands. "I won't let Martial Uncle worry anymore," Night Sorrow said with a smile. It was another victory. Everyone was very happy. Although the strength of the 100 races in the celestial realm couldn't be compared to the ancient cultivators, the scales of victory would tilt towards them as they accumulated strength step by step. After drinking some wine, Night Sorrow's original body and Lin Piaomiao left the unparalleled Great Array. They arrived at the encampment of the God-slaying team and called for their wives to take a stroll nearby. "I'll have to trouble everyone for now. When everything is stable, we'll return to the 9 domains world to live a peaceful life." Looking at his wives, Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with apology. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu and the rest shook their heads. They all knew that Night Sorrow had suffered a lot. "Is everything okay at home?" Night Sorrow asked. At this moment, Yang Lei, Aoi, Sikong Chuyu, and Dachira, who were following the God-slaying team, were all clones. Their original bodies were cultivating in the city in the sky. Lin Piaomiao's original body was in the sky desolate city presiding over the elders' meeting. Shueshi usually lived in the 9 domains world and didn't come out often. She didn't like bustling places and preferred a peaceful life in the city in the sky. "Very good. You can rest assured." Sikong Chuyu nodded. "That's good. If you're tired, go back. There's not much point in staying here." Night Sorrow looked at his wives and said. Night Sorrow had asked the First Army and the God-slaying team to leave and set up camp in the ethereal Imperial City. However, the 2 teams were eager to fight and returned. They were still camping outside the unparalleled Great Formation. Night Sorrow didn't chase them away. With the teleportation portal, even if the unparalleled Great Formation was broken, they would have time to retreat. After spending half a day with his wives, Night Sorrow accompanied Lin Piaomiao to go through the tribulation of the four kings. Only then did he return to the unparalleled Great Formation. What the hell is going on? Good. Not bad. You really love your family. Seeing Night Sorrow return, Huang Ling smiled and said, "My clone is guarding the entrance of the space tunnel. Even if I'm with my family, I don't dare to forget my business." Night Sorrow said with a smile, "That's not what I meant. I think you've done well. A man needs to be domineering and gentle. Young City Lord, you've done well," Huang Ling said. While everyone was chatting, Night Sorrow suddenly stood up. "Everyone prepare for battle. The other party is going all out this time." "What's the situation?" King Yewu asked. "The other party has 5 godly soul-uniting realm cultivators, the tribulation of the 9 kings and the array master. They're all approaching the space tunnel. After they enter, Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, Grand Elder will go all out. We must kill Gonan. Although the chances of Gonan breaking the formation aren't high, we must kill him first to make sure nothing goes wrong." Night Sorrow set the first target. Okay. King Yewu and the others nodded. Night Sorrow's clone had returned. However, it was still in the space tunnel. Night Sorrow's main body had also brought the others into the space tunnel. He wouldn't let go of an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. He wasn't the only one who'd done this before. Xianqing and Xiaoxi had done it before. Night Sorrow used the Thousand Realms defense body to protect everyone. They stayed at the side of the space tunnel. 5 Sumeru Space World Lines. Night Sorrow, your Thousand Realms defense body has reached a certain level. Heavenly Concubine noticed Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms defense body. She knew how difficult it was to cultivate this absolute art. In the history of the Devil Wing clan, only one person had successfully cultivated it. That was the result of many years of research. Night Sorrow's cultivation time couldn't be compared to that person. Chapter 2298. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Xianqing, Black Armor King, and the prostitute led their people out of the spatial tunnel and arrived at an empty area near the spatial tunnel. They moved forward in a fan-shaped formation. Gonan, who had a lower cultivation level, was in the middle, protected. "Gonan, we will protect you. Take a look at this array formation," Black Armor King said to Gonan. "Let's wait for a while before killing them. They are most alert now." Night Sorrow, who had observed the situation, said to King Yewu and the others. Night Sorrow only brought King Yewu, the Heavenly Concubine, and the Grand Elder for a sneak attack. Night Sorrow did not dare to bring the others. The other party was too strong. If they were not strong enough, it would not be a sneak attack. It would be suicide. Gonan's position is under their protection. "It's not easy to attack him," King Yewu whispered. "I'll poison him first. When everyone attacks, make sure your precept domains vibrate. Don't let the poisonous smoke touch your energy and body. We must take Gonan away in one wave of attacks. Then we'll see if we can take care of a few other high-level cultivators. If we have the chance, we have to earn a little and grind their strength bit by bit," Night Sorrow said. While being protected, Gonan took out a disc array and began to study it. Night Sorrow's clone took out 2 bottles of smoke and nodded to King Yewu and the Heavenly Concubine. He was going to release the poison. He was not worried about the poisonous smoke entering the Peerless Great Array because he had set up a sealing array formation to prevent the energy from entering the Peerless Great Array. As the Blood Kirin evil-slaying spear moved, Night Sorrow's clone threw out the 2 bottles of smoke. "Watch out! Poisonous smoke!" Seeing the bottles of smoke, Xianqing shouted and slashed with his saber. The others also attacked because they had seen the power of the poisonous smoke. It was terrifying. Primordial Destruction / Night Sorrow's main body attacked. The Thousand Realms defense protected his body and the Samsara halberd attacked Gonan. "You are courting death." Black Armor King scolded and flashed in front of Gonan. "Can you block it?" Night Sorrow channeled the energy of his Merit Dao body into the heavenly halberd of Samsara and slashed at the Black Armor King's weapon. At this moment he could not dodge the attack. Speed was what was needed in a sneak attack. If he delayed, he would lose the opportunity. As Night Sorrow and Black Armor King's weapons clashed, Black Armor King was sent flying. His eyes were filled with shock because Night Sorrow's strength was too strong for him to withstand. The Black Armor King's soul as one realm was higher than Night Sorrow's, but his body's strength and strength couldn't be compared to Night Sorrow's, and the difference was huge. As for the difference in Zhen Qi, Night Sorrow's primordial attribute had already closed the gap to the tiniest, so he couldn't withstand a single attack from the Black Armor King. Slash. Night Sorrow's body shifted slightly as his Samsara halberd slashed towards Go-Nan. At this moment, after his doppelganger had repelled the prostitute, the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear also slashed towards Xiancheng. Go-Nan retreated, but at this moment, the heavenly concubine's attack arrived. The compassion sword chi shot towards Go-Nan. Go-Nan, with his tribulation of 7 emperors cultivation, had nowhere to retreat, so he could only wave his sword to block. The heavenly concubine's sword chi sent his body flying unstably. Void Step. Night Sorrow's original body used Void Step. With a flash, he appeared in front of Go-Nan again. The Samsara halberd's attack didn't change. Go-Nan, who raised his battle blade to block again, couldn't resist at all. He was sent flying into the array by Night Sorrow's attack. After sending Go-Nan into the array, Night Sorrow turned around and attacked one of the tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators. As for Go-Nan, Night Sorrow knew that once he was sent into the array, he would be suppressed and killed. There was no chance for him to survive. That was the truth. Go-Nan's tribulation of 7 emperors cultivation was higher than the Blood Qilin King, the Golden Dragon King and the others, but he was already heavily injured. Furthermore, he was bombarded by the array to the point where he didn't even know his direction. Shenlin saved Go-Nan. Black Armor King, who was chasing after Night Sorrow, shouted to one of his Divine Soul Unity Realm subordinates. He knew how dangerous the array was, so he didn't dare to enter. However, because of Go-Nan's importance, he couldn't give up, so he shouted to his subordinate. The Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator in the Dark Realm castle called Shenlin was stunned. His eyes were filled with anger. He was a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator. Normally he respected Black Armor King, but he was naturally unwilling to die for Black Armor King. While Shenlin was stunned, King Yowu's long spear was attacking him. He was also planning to send him into the array. At this moment, the heavenly concubine, who had already killed a tribulation of 9 emperors cultivator, flapped her Holy Spirit wings and came to help. If they could send a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator into the unparalleled array, then slowly surround and kill him, it would be a great victory. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger waved their weapons, constantly repelling Black Armor King and Xiancheng. At the same time, they attacked the brothel to buy time for King Yowu and the heavenly concubine. The Grand Elder retreated. Because he wasn't strong enough, he couldn't suppress others. Instead, he was besieged by others. The battle was very intense. Night Sorrow attacked from behind King Yowu and the heavenly concubine. He waved his 2 long spears, repelling the ancient cultivators who attacked him. As for the energy slashes and sword chi of the tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators, Night Sorrow directly ignored them. With his merit taboo primordial Dao domain, his Thousand Realms defense could completely ignore these energy attacks. Shenlin, who was besieged, was emotionally unstable because of Black Armor King's words. He was constantly being attacked by King Yowu and the heavenly concubine. Seeing that he was about to enter the unparalleled array, Shenlin roared and blocked the heavenly concubine's long sword with his battle saber. Go in. The heavenly concubine kicked Shenlin's chest in the air, kicking him into the unparalleled array. The demon-winged clan's cultivation talent was high. First, they had wings and second, they had strong bodies. Shenlin couldn't stand steadily after the heavenly concubine's kick. Seeing that the Grand Elder had retreated to the center of the array to control Shenlin, King Yowu and the heavenly concubine turned around to help Night Sorrow fight. The 3 of them formed the 4 symbols combined formation and targeted the cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors. The battle was very intense. The main reason was that Night Sorrow's strength couldn't be suppressed. Whoever dared to take it head-on would only end up being repelled or sent flying. After sending 2 cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors into the array, Night Sorrow decided to retreat. He was fine, but King Yowu and the heavenly concubine were injured. Although it wasn't serious, Night Sorrow didn't want this kind of accumulation of injuries to continue. Before Night Sorrow shouted for them to retreat, Black Armor King shouted for them to retreat. He was afraid that Night Sorrow and the other 2 would continue to deal with the cultivators of the tribulation of 9 emperors. In addition, the poisonous smoke was also fatal. 2 of his subordinates had already been infected by the smoke and died. Black Armor King, Xiancheng and the prostitute retreated. Night Sorrow and the other 2 couldn't stop them, so they didn't chase after them. Chapter 2299. Under the attacks of Night Sorrow's two bodies and the soul destruction slash, Shun Lin could only hold on for a while before he was killed by Night Sorrow. His soul was destroyed. At this time Heavenly Concubine and King Yowu also finished killing. The group gathered at the core of the formation. L4K on New M. Chapter Most M. Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, are you guys alright? Night Sorrow saw that the two of them had been attacked by energy. Martial Uncle, it's just a small problem. Once we enter the spatial treasure we will recover in 7 or 8 days. The battle will affect us but it won't affect us much, King Yowu said. My situation is the same. Some injuries are unavoidable in battle. I just need some time to deal with it. Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow. Young City Lord, it seems like you're the only one fine. Huang Ling looked at Night Sorrow and said, I'm the only one fine. This is a great victory. Let's see how they play. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was in a good mood. Young City Lord's defense and power are too terrifying. Other than being weaker than his opponent in terms of true chi, he has the complete advantage in all other aspects, the Golden Dragon King said. Martial Uncle, Heavenly Concubine, you guys enter the spatial treasure to recover. I'll go to the spatial tunnel to take a look. If anything happens I'll shake your spatial treasure, Night Sorrow said to King Yowu and Heavenly Concubine. It's not that troublesome. We'll enter your spatial treasure. Just shake your soul and we'll be ready to fight at any time, Heavenly Concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow thought about it and didn't refuse. He took out the clear sky pagoda and placed it in the living area of the Peerless Great Formation. King Yowu and Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow and directly entered. They had to make the best use of their time. It was important to maintain their peak condition. Night Sorrow, be careful. They could sneak attack you last time. They can do it again this time. The Grand Elder said worriedly. He looked at Night Sorrow's eyes with worry and admiration because Night Sorrow's combat power had surpassed his by a lot. Night Sorrow could fight with Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators and even had the upper hand. However, he was suppressed by Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. It was completely different. True. I'll be careful. Also, I need to deal with the poisonous smoke at the spatial passageway. Night Sorrow planned to banish the smoke at the spatial passageway into chaotic space. Because of the Peerless Grand Array and the control of the Sealing Array, the smoke released by Night Sorrow had yet to spread, and it couldn't spread. Can't we just leave it be? If they come in it will still harm them. The Heavenly Astral King asked. Yeah. Let's just leave it as it is. If we don't go over, whoever comes in will be unlucky. Night Sorrow smiled. He really didn't think in this direction. Then when you go over, won't you be in danger too? Lin Piaomiao asked. I'm proficient in Ripple Force. With my Dao domain the poisonous smoke can't hurt me. Night Sorrow nodded at Lin Piaomiao. His wife's concern warmed his heart. At this moment there was a sudden change in the world. Auspicious clouds appeared in the sky as golden lotuses spun and descended. The ground shone with a golden radiance, resonating with the golden lotuses in the sky. It's here. It's finally here. Night Sorrow looked up at the sky and understood. After repelling the invasion of the Ancient Cultivator Alliance and killing a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator in the Celestial Realm, Night Sorrow's Merit Cultivation finally broke through the bottleneck that he had been stuck at for a long time and entered the Merit Emperor level. The sound of nature was melodious as the golden lotuses floated. Guided by the auspicious clouds, Night Sorrow's body floated up into the sky and received the baptism of the golden lotuses and auspicious clouds. Merit Emperor, you can call him the Merit Emperor now. Our celestial realm's 100 races have been passed down for 1,000 reincarnations. Finally, someone has become the Merit Emperor. The Grand Elder looked up at Night Sorrow with tears in his eyes because his heart was at ease. No matter how difficult it was now, the celestial realm would be stable in the future. Even if it fell, they could fight back in the future. He didn't have much lifespan left. Seeing hope comforted him. Night Sorrow's Dharma robe changed. The Dharma robe that was originally flowing with Tao aura turned golden. Human Tao scriptures were truly flowing on it. Not only did the people of the Celestial Realm and the Peerless Great Array see this scene, but the members of the First Army and the God-Slaying team also saw this scene. Everywhere in the Celestial Realm, the scene of the ancient world's passageway appeared. Tran Hung, who was far away in the heavenly desolate city, also saw this scene. His eyes were filled with gratification. He knew what this meant. When the crisis of the ancient cultivators was resolved, they could try to attack the Demon Imperial City. The Demon Imperial City's defense might not be able to withstand the fire of merit at the level of a great emperor. Shaluo, that's your father. What's going on? Lu Yu, who was in the divine capital, looked at Yi Xiaoluo after seeing the image in the sky. Originally, Yi Xiaoluo's group was at the ancient world spatial passageway, but they were chased away by Datura. She was worried about the safety of this group of juniors. It's my father. It's a natural phenomenon. It should be caused by some breakthrough, Yi Xiaoluo said. The Merit Emperor. The unprecedented Merit Emperor has appeared. Xiaoluo, your father has become the Merit Emperor. Lu Qi bowed to the golden figure in the sky. Yi Xiaoluo and the others did the same. The celestial realm will soon overcome the darkness before dawn and welcome the dawn. Lu Qi's voice was trembling because of the excitement in his heart. I want to see my father, Yi Xiaoluo said and walked toward the teleportation array. The Nine Zones world was like the celestial realm. They had natural phenomena. Night Sorrow was the origin realm master of the Nine Zones world. His ascension was the Nine Zones world's ascension. This situation lasted for 6 hours before it dissipated. Night Sorrow also returned to the surface. Everything was normal. The only difference was that the golden words on Night Sorrow's robe were still flowing. Greetings, Great Emperor. The Grand Elder took the lead and bowed together with the clan leaders of the mythological beast clan. The Merit Emperor had a noble status and was revered by billions of holy spirits. This was the rule of the heavens. Sect Elder Duan, don't be like this. Night Sorrow reached out and helped everyone up. This matter must be reported to the Celestial Realm's 100 tribes. It must be reported to all parts of the Celestial Realm. This is a milestone in the development of the Celestial Realm's 100 tribes, the Golden Dragon King said. There's no need to mobilize so many people. I didn't expect that I would improve while resolving the crisis. Night Sorrow said with a smile. At this moment he felt the changes in his body. His Merit Dao body was strengthened again. Every bit of flesh in his body had a golden glow. The divine infant's head was full of golden light rippling. An immortal body. His current body was an immortal body. Indeed, there's no need to report. Auspicious signs have descended everywhere in the celestial realm. Everyone knows about it, the Grand Elder said. I'll be in seclusion for a few days. However, my clone will guard the spatial passage. Night Sorrow finished speaking and entered the clear sky pagoda. Chapter 2300. The cultivators of the 100 races of the celestial realm were very happy because they were sure that the predicament was only temporary. Hope was right in front of them. The birth of the Merit Emperor meant that the future was bright. Night Sorrow familiarized himself with his situation in the clear sky pagoda. His Merit Dao body's power increased again. The energy circulating in his body had a golden glow. Percent A equals 1V hair 2F powerful. Night Sorrow thought he was powerful. If his cultivation wasn't at the 8th Emperor Tribulation, the energy wouldn't be able to hurt him. This was the power of the Merit Emperor. One had to know that with the defense of the Thousand Realms defense body, Night Sorrow's Divine Soul Unison Realm attacks wouldn't reach this level. In other words, Divine Soul Unison Realm cultivators wouldn't be able to hurt him as long as he didn't consume too much energy. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with his situation. Of course, he knew that he still had to work hard. He had the defensive power, but the offensive power had to be strengthened. Divine Soul Unison Realm cultivators couldn't hurt him now. The shield was strong enough, but the spear still needed to be cultivated. After stabilizing time in the real world for half a month, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. King Wu and the others congratulated Night Sorrow. You don't need to be the young city lord of the Tianhuang city and the divine capital city anymore. The Merit Emperor is worthy of being the leader of the 100 races of the celestial realm and the commander of the 100 races alliance army, King Wu said. He knew that Night Sorrow didn't need the identity of the young city lord of the celestial realm anymore. It wasn't suitable for him at the moment. In the past, Tran Hung and King Wu arranged the identity of the young city lord for Night Sorrow because they hoped that Night Sorrow would have the prestige to command troops. Now that this identity wasn't suitable, it would reduce the prestige of the Merit Emperor. The Merit Emperor didn't need any identity to confirm his position. Martial uncle, you're exaggerating. Night Sorrow is still Night Sorrow, Night Sorrow said. Not at all. You are the human emperor with the highest achievement in the history of merit and virtue. You deserve the title of Merit and Virtue Great Emperor. You can command all corners of the celestial realm, Elder Duan said with a smile. The advancement of Night Sorrow's power of virtue was a joyous occasion. The group celebrated in the living area at the core of the formation. After drinking a bowl of wine, King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "Night Sorrow, how does the promotion of the power of merit affect my combat strength?" "The most important aspect is that the defensive power of my body and the suppressive power of my Dao domain have undergone a qualitative improvement," Night Sorrow said. He didn't hide anything from King Yawu and the seniors present. There was no need to hide anything from them. "What's the situation like when you fight against an ancient cultivator of the Divine Soul Unity Realm?" King Yawu asked. "Of course it's a different story if we're surrounded," Night Sorrow said with a smile. King Yawu took another big gulp of wine. He was very happy. Night Sorrow's combat strength had increased. The most important thing was that Night Sorrow had a clone, which was equivalent to 2 cultivators of the Divine Soul Unity Realm. The key was that Night Sorrow still had room for improvement. If he improved further, he would have the strength to easily kill a cultivator of the Divine Soul Unity Realm. After celebrating, Night Sorrow stood outside the campsite. The Heavenly Concubine and Lin Piaomiao stood behind him. "Why don't you drink more?" the Heavenly Concubine asked. "Too much pressure. The more power you have, the more pressure you have. When you're strong, you have to face some things. You have to face ancient cultivators and the Demon Wing clan that I don't want to improve in front of you," Night Sorrow said. "There's nothing that can't be mentioned. I've given up on the past. As for why I don't want to fight the Demon Wing clan, it's because of some old feelings in my heart," the Heavenly Concubine said. "It's been hard on you. In the past, I didn't care about your feelings. But now that we're friends, I'll do my best for my friends." Night Sorrow turned to look at the Heavenly Concubine and nodded. "Thank you. When we're done with the ancient cultivators, we'll consider the matter of the Demon Wing clan. In addition, you should continue to improve your strength. When you improve your strength, it will completely surpass the strength of other cultivators of the Divine Soul Unity Realm. In this state, every bit of strength is precious," the Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow, Protector Heavenly Concubine is right. You can't rush into battle. You're still in the process of improving your strength. If you can improve, then do it. You have to fight in your strongest state. That's the most sensible thing to do, Lin Piaomiao said. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood this logic. For the time being, he didn't have any plans to fight. It was fine as long as he could stabilize the situation. In addition, he knew that Xian Cheng and Black Armor King wouldn't attack for the time being. It should be said that they couldn't afford to attack. In the camp of the Ancient World Alliance army, Xian Cheng and Black Armor King were sitting opposite each other. Both of them were at their wits' end. Looking at the huge fat meat in front of them, they just couldn't eat it. They couldn't restrain the wolf smoke. In addition, they couldn't break through the defensive array of the celestial realm. Only Go Nan, who was proficient in arrays, had died in battle. Realm Lord Xian Cheng, you and I are clear about the current situation. Both of us can't win. It's impossible for both of us to eat this meat. Why don't we join forces with a few more forces? Black Armor King looked at Xian Cheng and asked. Although I don't wish for too many forces to participate, we can't not join forces with other forces. I agree with the Castle Lord's opinion. Xian Cheng nodded. When we're done, I'll slaughter those damned people. Black Armor King was furious because his subordinate, Shen Lin, had died in battle. He was the backbone of the Dark Realm Ancient Castle. Subsequently, Xian Cheng and Black Armor King sent people to contact other forces. They must conquer the Celestial Realm because it was related to resources and their future. Night Sorrow's clone went out to investigate once. When he found that the Ancient Cultivator Alliance army wasn't moving, he didn't bother. It was good that everyone was at peace. He needed time to cultivate. Mo Yuqing's main body found Mo Zhantian and reported the news she received. Merit Emperor. Could it be that our era is destined to be a dormant era? Mo Zhantian felt very powerless. He more or less understood the Merit Emperor's situation. He was also someone who had grasped the power of faith. Right now, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm are fighting fervently. However, the battle with the ancient cultivators hasn't started yet. In other words, the situation hasn't started yet because the spatial tunnel is still sealed. Mo Yuqing said the second situation. I've heard about the Ancient World Group. It's not so easy to solve. Those are cultivators with long inheritances. They don't have any resources. Therefore, when they know about the existence of the Supreme World and the World Domain, they will be like wolves that have seen their prey. They won't give up easily. However, if the Merit Emperor is in the Celestial Realm, it'll be hard for the ancient cultivators to conquer it, let alone the future Supreme World. Emo Zhantian wasn't optimistic about the ancient cultivators. Lord Divine Ancestor, the Devil Ancestor's palace emitted a strong energy fluctuation. At this moment, Emo Lu appeared at Emo Zhantian's cultivation area. Chapter 2301. When Emo Zhantian arrived at the Demon Ancestor's palace, he immediately rushed inside but was stopped by the energy waves. Emo Zhantian's expression changed. He bit his finger and activated his bloodline power before entering the palace. Inside the palace, the Demon Ancestor's huge body was lying there. There was a halo of energy around his body. The halo was fluctuating constantly. Most importantly, his chest was moving up and down. Awakening. Emo Zhantian knelt on the ground. His heart was filled with shock and excitement because the Demon Ancestor was breathing. This was a sign of awakening. After confirming again, Emo Zhantian kowtowed. He was originally in despair, but now his heart was filled with hope. Emo Zhantian was originally full of confidence, thinking that he could defeat the 100 races of the celestial realm. However, after being severely injured, he lost his confidence because he was no match for Tranhung and King Yawu. In addition, the appearance of the Merit Emperor of the Celestial Realm was a huge blow to his confidence. Now that the Demon Ancestor was showing signs of awakening, Emo Zhantian saw hope again. The Demon Ancestor was the strongest expert in the history of the Demon-Winged clan who was the closest to passing the God-destroying tribulation. He was already a half-step Divine Emperor. After awakening and recovering, he would immediately have unparalleled combat power. He would be the strongest expert under the God-destroying tribulation. From today onwards, no one is allowed to approach the Demon Ancestor's palace. Anyone who approaches will be killed without mercy. Emo Zhantian ordered. He even decided to guard the palace himself until the Demon Ancestor woke up. Night Sorrow began to cultivate again. He seized the opportunity to improve his strength. He had enough resources to cultivate his body. In addition to the resources from Tianhuang City and Shindu City, Night Sorrow had obtained a lot from the battle. Last time, when the ancient cultivators had attacked, Yishang had killed Shenlin. Shenlin was a demonic beast that had cultivated successfully. The essence blood in his body was a cultivation resource for Yishang. There was also a cultivator of the tribulation of the 9 emperors, who was also a demonic beast. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. King Yawu and the others were relieved because there was hope. They knew that the predicament was only temporary. As long as Night Sorrow was given more time, he would be able to sweep the battlefield. Night Sorrow's clone had been monitoring the movements of the ancient cultivator allied army at the entrance of the spatial passageway, while his original body had been cultivating inside the Clear Heaven Pagoda. Time slowly slipped away. The troops of the allied army of ancient cultivators gathered again, and the number of troops was increasing. Xian Cheng and Black Armor King didn't suppress the spread of the news. The ancient cultivators who had left the Fire King city also spread the news. Some ancient cultivator factions also gathered. Because Xian Cheng and the Black Armor King had a tacit understanding, the two of them were the commanders of the allied army. It was also because their subordinates were the strongest, and they were the first to arrive. Xian Cheng and Black Armor King also had a common understanding. If they didn't work together, they wouldn't be able to suppress the others. Only by working together could they control the situation. Night Sorrow could see the movements of the ancient cultivators, but he did not care. No matter how many ancient cultivators there were, it was useless if they could not break in. In addition, he also had a plan. As soon as the allied army of ancient cultivators showed signs of attacking, he would take action and throw a few more bottles of poisonous smoke to throw the allied army into chaos. In addition, Night Sorrow felt that even if the ancient cultivators attacked, they wouldn't be a threat. This was because the surroundings of the spatial passageway were filled with poisonous smoke. In addition, the power of the unparalleled Great Array had been tested. It could withstand the wind and rain, and it could withstand attacks. This was Night Sorrow's confidence. The confidence that allowed him to cultivate steadily without worry. Night Sorrow didn't do anything, but the troops of the Celestial Realm were calm. It could be said that the troops of the Celestial Realm were all under the influence of Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow was relaxed, the others were relaxed. When Night Sorrow was nervous, the others would prepare for war. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. The ancient cultivators had gathered a terrifying number of troops. Their combat strength was several times stronger than that of the Celestial Realm. There were 10 Soul Unity Realm cultivators. However, because they didn't have the ability to deal with the poisonous smoke and break the array, they didn't attack. 20 years had passed in the real world. Knight Sorrow came out of seclusion in the Clear Sky Pagoda after 100 years. His physical cultivation had reached the late stage of the 8th Emperor Tribulation. His Chi realm was also close to the 8th Emperor Tribulation. However, he had consumed a lot of resources. He came out of seclusion because he had run out of resources. After cultivating for 100 years, Knight Sorrow had used up the blood essence of high-level demonic beasts that he had collected. The spirit stones below the Monarch Spirit Stone were also used up because he had used all his strength to break through to the Chi realm. This was a huge consumption. This situation also let Knight Sorrow know where the ancient cultivator's determination to attack the celestial realm came from. Without resources, it was too difficult to achieve anything. Sister Xian, do me a favor. After drinking tea with everyone, Knight Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. What is it? Lin Piaomiao was puzzled. She didn't know what Knight Sorrow wanted to do. I have run out of resources. Sister Xian, go to the 9-domain world's heaven sealing palace to get resources from my 9-domain clone. Knight Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. Phew. I thought it was something big. Lin Piaomiao smiled. Our human emperor has a lot of resources. He's going back to his nest to get resources. Wang Ling smiled. Everyone was in a good mood after Knight Sorrow came out of seclusion. A lot of resources. No, I have used up most of my resources. The ones in the 9-domain world are only a small portion of the resources I have. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He was really poor now. It's that serious? King Yawu looked at Knight Sorrow and frowned. It's because of the attributes. Because I was in a hurry, I completely relied on spirit stones. It's a waste. Knight Sorrow nodded. Knight Sorrow, you can't cultivate like this. It will cause your foundation to be unstable. Heavenly Concubine looked at Knight Sorrow with a worried expression. I know. I won't do this anymore. I want to break through to the 8 Emperor Tribulation and then adjust my cultivation base to the 8 Emperor Tribulation. It should be enough. The Ancient Cultivator Alliance is ready. I, Knight Sorrow, am also ready. Let's see who is more prepared. Knight Sorrow let out a breath. King Yawu and the others nodded. They knew that Knight Sorrow was in a hurry. He was in a hurry to suppress and kill Divine Soul Unity Realm experts. In the following days, Knight Sorrow didn't cultivate. He just relaxed. He planned to settle the Ancient Cultivator Alliance after he calmed down. After years of bitter cultivation, Knight Sorrow was confident that he could kill his way out of the Ancient Cultivator Alliance. Not only had his body reached the late stage of the 8 Emperor Tribulation, but his true energy realm had reached the peak of the 7 Emperor Tribulation. His 1,000 Realms defense had also improved. Now he had reached the 7 Realms defense. However, the 7th Realm defense was still in its embryonic form. After years of planning, Xianqing Black Armor King and the others came up with a plan. They worked together to break the formation. They didn't split up. They attacked the formation with brute force and destroyed it with brute force. When Xianqing and the others had black chains on their shoulders, Knight Sorrow knew he had to make a move. The ancient cultivators were about to make a move. Chapter 2302. Knight Sorrow planned to intimidate them. Previously he had intimidated them with his methods. This time he would intimidate them with his strength. On the celestial realm's side, King Yawu and the heavenly concubine were a little worried. They had investigated some time ago and knew the strength of the ancient world's cultivators. Now that Knight Sorrow wanted to attack, it was risky. King Yawu, let's go out and take a look. If necessary, we must provide support, the heavenly concubine said. King Yawu nodded. His precept domain vibrated. He entered the spatial tunnel with the heavenly concubine, who had used the same method to block the poisonous smoke. At this time, Knight Sorrow, who was approaching the united army, raised his left arm and signaled to King Yawu and the heavenly concubine not to get too close. Xianqing Black Armor King, didn't you want to fight? I'm here. Knight Sorrow waved his samsara halberd and shouted at the ancient cultivator united army. Your world relies on formations to hide like a turtle. You're only relying on your fast legs. Otherwise you're trash. Xianqing stood out. His eyes were about to spit fire because Xianhua had died under Yishang's scheme. The winner is king and the loser is a thief. What's the point of saying this to me? Knight Sorrow smiled. Then what are you doing here? Come out to embarrass yourself and then run back? Xianqing's eyes were full of disdain. Ah, you're so arrogant. Let your subordinates draw a circle and fight to the death. If they run out of the circle, they will kill themselves. Otherwise, heaven and man will abandon them. Do you dare? Night Sorrow smiled. Do you dare to swear an oath? Xianqing was stunned. He knew that Night Sorrow was stronger, but he was not afraid. He did not understand what Night Sorrow was doing, but he was afraid that Night Sorrow would run away. Therefore he planned to use an oath to trap Night Sorrow. Yishang smiled. He was more than happy to be bound by an oath. Today he was here to kill people and to intimidate them openly. He wanted to let the ancient cultivators know the strength of the heaven realm. In the future they would have to think twice before attacking. As Xianqing waved his hand, Qingjia drew a circle with his weapon. In order to let Xianqing take advantage of his high cultivation and limit Night Sorrow's speed and movement, Qingjia drew a very small circle. Looking at the circle, Night Sorrow shook his head. Who was the limit? His defense was tyrannical, and the thing he was least afraid of was a head-on clash. He was good at battles with small movements. Regardless of life and death, you've been abandoned by both heaven and man. It's your turn. Xianqing's body flashed and entered the circle. Night Sorrow swore the same oath and entered the circle. At this time, Heavenly Concubine and King Yawu, who were some distance away, took out their memory crystal balls at the same time. They knew Night Sorrow's goal. What followed was a classic battle of intimidation and slaughter. They wanted to record this classic. As soon as Night Sorrow entered the circle, Xianqing's body flashed and slashed toward Night Sorrow's head. He wanted to kill Night Sorrow and establish his prestige in the alliance. He wanted to kill Night Sorrow and cut off the stumbling block on his way to invade the celestial realm. Therefore he attacked fiercely and without holding back. Taking a step forward, Night Sorrow's samsara halberd pierced toward Xianqing's chest. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't dodge, Xianqing's eyes widened and he attacked with the greatest strength. He wasn't afraid of Night Sorrow's attack because he felt that his attack would hit Night Sorrow first and push Night Sorrow back. In that case, Night Sorrow's attack would collapse on its own. Buzz! A strong spatial vibration appeared. 7 Sumeru spatial lines appeared around Night Sorrow's body. These 7 Sumeru spatial lines instantly swallowed most of Xianqing's blade aura. Only a small part of it hit Night Sorrow's body. It only made Night Sorrow's robe shake a little. At this time, Night Sorrow's samsara halberd landed squarely on Xianqing's chest, directly annihilating a large transparent hole in Xianqing's chest. Merit Taboo Primordial Dao Domain. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow released his Dao Domain and pressed it toward Xianqing. He didn't want Xianqing to have a chance to retreat. Xianqing, who had been severely injured by Night Sorrow, was shocked. He hurriedly tried to retreat, but Night Sorrow's Merit Taboo Primordial Dao Domain suppression tightened the space around him. He couldn't retreat. Destroy. Night Sorrow let out a low roar. The samsara halberd slashed across Xianqing's chest and destroyed everything from his neck to his head. At the same time, the Emperor-level fire of virtue enveloped Xianqing's soul body and started burning it. With just one move, Night Sorrow destroyed Xianqing's body and took control of his soul body. Night Sorrow didn't attack Xianqing's soul body. Instead, he focused his attention on the other members of the Ancient Cultivator Alliance army. His Dao Domain and Fire of Virtue were tyrannical. They suppressed Xianqing's soul body in his Dao Domain and burned it. Xianqing's soul body couldn't escape. You want to kill me just like that? If you don't have the qualifications, who else can do it? Don't play tricks with me and don't think of attacking me together. It's useless. Night Sorrow looked at the group of ancient cultivators and said slowly, "Read novels for free for all eternity." The ancient cultivators didn't move. The 9 divine soul unification realm cultivators didn't move either. Night Sorrow's move was too frightening. Xianqing was killed with just one move. Although he underestimated his opponent, it also showed how tyrannical Night Sorrow was. Is there anyone coming? If not, I'll go back. I'm here today to tell you that don't have any ideas about the celestial realm. From today onwards, I'll kill whoever enters the spatial passage. If you don't believe me, you can try. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, his body flew backward. As he flew backward, his body became illusory. When he reappeared, he was in front of the heavenly concubine and King Yawu. The fire of virtue in his Dao Domain was still burning. Xianqing's soul body couldn't escape. Domineering. King Yawu's eyes were filled with shock and joy. Night Sorrow's performance was too strong. Xianqing, who was at the divine soul unification realm, had his body destroyed in one move. His soul body was controlled. This kind of combat strength had never appeared since ancient times. Go back and drink. Let them think. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he entered the spatial passage. He really wanted to give the ancient cultivators time. He hoped that they would retreat on their own. War was accompanied by slaughter. Night Sorrow felt that it was better to avoid it if possible. Night Sorrow and the other two left. Black Armor King, the brothel, and the others didn't say anything. They were indeed shocked. None of the 9 Divine Soul Unification Realm cultivators dared to say that they were stronger than Shenqing. Now that Shenqing was killed, they were also in danger. Black Armor King, what should we do? The brothel looked at Black Armor King. What should we do? Giving up means giving up our resources. Giving up the resources of a supreme world. If we fight alone, we won't be a match for this guy. Black Armor King's eyes turned red. Although he felt sad for the death of his kind, the most important thing was that he couldn't eat the meat. My lords, we don't have to fight him head-on. We can just charge together and break through their defense to enter their world. Then we can rely on our own abilities to find opportunities. Those who are targeted by him can only blame their bad luck. Green Armor said. He was about to reach the Divine Soul Unification Realm, but he didn't have any resources. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.